There we go. Unmuted on the YouTube side. Or TikTok side. How's everybody doing? Everybody vibing? Unscheduled random stream, you know. I scheduled it like an hour in advance, I'd say. That's about as scheduled as this is. Hairline low-key looks better, dude. Really? Oh, thank you. I've been taking a lot of stuff for it, so. And it's been taking forever, but I'm doing my best, you know. 8:30 means 11 p.m. What are you talking about, man? I actually never even scheduled this stream. That's why starting at 8:30 isn't even a problem. I wasn't even late. Technically. You know. Sorry. But it's also just a chill stream too, so I mean, if people just want to be vibing and chilling, you know.
Yeah, I'm vibing and I'm chilling, man.
Oh, you're vibing and chilling? That's good. That's good. It's good.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat,
Get 'em out of here, man.
Shabbat shalom.
Yo, it is Shabbat. You know,
It is literally Shabbat right
Greatest
now.
day of the week.
It is
So
literally
proud of
Shabbat.
Rome. You guys excommunicated those fools, man.
They excommunicated themselves. 250 years. USA. All right. USA.
I thought you were SSPX, Chris.
Nope. I attend the bogus order.
The bogus aura. Ordo.
Yeah. The Novus order for all the normies out there.
Yeah.
So are you saying that Orthodox Christians are closer than SSPX are to Rome?
Wait, what?
Are Orthodox Christians closer than the SSPX to Rome?
No, absolutely not.
We never got excommunicated.
No, but if you're Antiochian.
Yes, you did. Late Sententiae, Canon 1364 by
That was lifted.
Oh.
That was
Yeah,
lifted
well,
by John Paul to something.
Yeah, but the perpetuity of formal heresy, still you excommunicate yourself.
Wait, but so then I'm a material heretic, not a formal heretic.
Well, do you know about like formal dogmas in the Catholic Church that you deny, even though you
Big
know that
words,
they're dogmatically
man.
binding?
Yeah, obviously, like filioque.
Okay, yeah, you're just a formal heretic, dude.
But wait, but I was never formally condemned. I don't understand.
What do you mean?
My excommunication was lifted by John Paul to something.
You deny a dogma that you know is true. So you have the assent or the knowledge.
So the
of thing
SSPX
that's
have
true.
kind of always been heretics then.
Well, they're not heretics. They believe in other things, but they might.
Wait, is
so
it a
there's the
theological
thing.
position that they have where they believe that they have the right to consecrate bishops without the Pope's approval? Isn't that a theological position?
No,
That's not theology.
no, because they try to use canon law. They use canon law to try to justify what they believe. They think it's out of a necessity.
And
No,
do you
it's
even
not
And
out
the,
of
the
it.
authority of the Pope is a theological matter.
They don't profess to deny Vatican I.
Vatican II, you mean?
No, Vatican I, because the authority of the Pope is defined as Vatican.
Yes,
I.
and most of the people in the SSPX believe that like Vatican II is a problem, right? With a lot of the things that Lefebvre says about Vatican II.
Lefebvre signed all the documents of Vatican II.
Yeah, I know he signed it. That doesn't mean that he still thinks it was stupid.
He like basically believed in all of them except for like Dignitatis Humanae.
Can you do that?
Well, it's unclear what we have to assent to.
Are you
and
looking at the camera like
we
that?
can assent to. No. I'm being so serious.
Okay.
Because for instance, Lefebvre's book, they have uncrowned him. Now, I agree that like he's kind of coal posting in chapters 24 and 25.
Okay.
Now, at the same time, he seems to like have issues more with the ambiguities because he prefaces that in chapter 25,
Okay.
where he talks about ambiguities and the allowance of heterodox beliefs in the documents. Not that there's an intrinsic issue.
Okay, so
So I-
there, so
I think-
allow
I
so
think Lefebvre-
heterodoxy. So heterodoxy can be taught within ecumenical councils.
No. If you pull up the Uncrowned them, right, the beginning paragraph, he says that there's people that can read it into it, not that it's there. Because again,
Oh.
he's in the acts of the council. He's a council father.
Well, you said that he doesn't affirm what you said it was dignitas humanae.
Well, he has certain issues with it.
Does he believe there's heresy in it?
That question is unclear because he contradicts himself on it, it seems.
Ah, damn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't support the SSPX in any regard. I just was curious on like how you guys handle their conversational
Well,
pieces.
it's a very
So they're Protestants now, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they are.
They are, and that shit is funny.
It's so funny, bro.
Dude, it's not funny, bro. This isn't
I
funny.
haven't seen
I can't
Jason
wait.
on.
I can't wait for an SSPX person to come up here and be like, "I believe the papacy is true," and I'm gonna be like, "What papacy? You don't have a papacy."
Where's Jason at, man? He's not on here anymore. I haven't seen him in a while.
He was on live.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
on
he
live
was?
today. He's doing some like dilemma thingy or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I DM'd
Some boring
him.
shit regarding
I
hormones.
DM'd Jason. I wish he would have got back to me because I asked him, does he believe the Pope is in heresy, and he never got back to me.
Well, I mean,
Can you guys hear me?
I saw him. Yeah, we can hear you. What's up?
Okay, perfect. I came here to have a discussion with the host of the live about the first one. The first prompt, you said that the Trinity is true. I'm just. Do you have an argument for that or no?
No, I'm just defending that position. I'm not making a specific
Well,
argumentation, obviously external to my worldview. I believe that within my worldview, the Trinity is perfectly logical and it's true.
Within your worldview is true. Okay. Well,
I mean, I
that's just
personally
the same
believe that
as
my
saying you
worldview is
believe
true, yeah, but obviously if I put up the prompt, the Trinity is true, that's me asking for, the prompt would be for somebody to come up here and attempt to basically make an argument against the Trinity. So if you're just going to
Well,
flip the
that's
prompt
not-
and try to make me just explain why I think that's the case, then I mean, you're on the wrong panel.
Well, that's not what. That's obviously when you say the Trinity is true.
Yeah,
you're
that's a
making claim.
position. That's a position I hold to. So
Yeah,
if you
I
have
wasn't
something
finished speaking.
against that, then you're welcome to say
Just
something.
internally critique
Oh,
him,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah, but I wasn't finished speaking. So obviously, when you
sorry.
say the Trinity is true, you're making a claim about reality insofar as on the object.
Here we
level,
go. Here we go.
Right? It's
Already with these
intended
guys.
literally. It has conditions
Yeah.
under which it's true or false.
It's intended literally.
And so I'm just asking, are you able to justify that? Because that
Yeah,
seems
no.
like it is.
So it's just
impossible.
so that's not the way that I have my prompt set up. Again, I'll say it again.
Wait,
It's more
what do
like
you
me
mean that's
just
not the
saying.
way you
It's
have
more
your
like
prompt set
it's
up?
more
What did
like
I
me
say?
just
Yes.
saying that simply I hold a certain position. If you have a problem with that
Wait, what did
position,
I
you're
say?
welcome
That's
to make an
confusing.
argument. Okay. So I can tell that you're in 5th grade. So I'm going to go ahead and just set you back down. Maybe you can try to understand what my prompt actually means next time. Okay. And I told you what I actually mean when I say the Trinity is true. That simply just means that I'm willing to defend the Trinity against anybody who has a problem with it. And then you somehow still manage to basically just say a bunch of random shit that I do not care about. All right, I'm not doing the filibuster shit.
Holy
Don't care.
goyim, holy goyim.
I ran from him already. He hasn't even made an argument, and I somehow ran from this guy.
Well,
Who
I
is
don't
this?
understand-
Who is this guy?
I don't understand. Why don't you just?
I said
do
the
it in-
way that my prompt is set up, and then he somehow tried to argue about what I put in my prompt. That's how
No,
I
no,
know
no,
that the
no,
guy
I know.
doesn't want to actually talk.
I know, but I'm saying, why doesn't he just internally critique you? I don't understand what the issue is.
First off,
He knows you-
first off, he's part of the KG thing, by the way. Which, by the way, these are like people that LARP and think that you can join a clan for debating because they miss Call of Duty. I'm assuming that that's the issue that happened there.
Well, they're all former anime debaters that moved to philosophy.
I told
That's
you.
Which is the funniest shit on the planet, by the way.
Is a claim about
They're
reality.
a
Why does he
debate
keep on saying
clan.
that?
KG stands for Knowledge Gap. These guys
Wait,
are actually like real people.
I told you that the claim on the objective level is a claim about reality. Wow, he really got you there.
Yeah, he got me. He's destroyed me already. See, when
before I drop, KG stands for King Gay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey,
Debate
Bryce,
clan
can
and
we
the
have
Big
a
26. What's up?
Bryce, can we have a quick discussion, man? This is quite important.
Yeah, what's up, man?
So you know how like currently the seat of the Palmarian Church is like not filled.
Yeah, Peter the Third or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been like disposed of. So are you gonna fill the seat yet? Like what's going on?
Of the Palmarian Church, you think I should replace Peter the Third?
Yeah, we need a hero, man. We need a hero to the church, and you seem like the best fit.
I don't know, dude. I'm not arguing. I'm not good at arguing that Mary's in the Eucharist. G. I'm sorry.
I actually believe that. I can't believe that's real.
Yeah, I'm not good at arguing for that. So I wouldn't be a good pope in that case.
What are you talking about? Her
Bryce,
cells.
gone,
Her cells are in the Eucharist.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But sorry, man. I just don't think I'm really spiritually fit for the job of holding the papal position of the Palmarian Church. Is he actually gone? Is he actually no longer the Pope for them or whatever?
I don't think I haven't.
No,
heard
he's not been disposed of, but you know,
Disposed of? What the hell does that mean? What do you mean disposed of? Do you mean deposed?
No, they dispose of. I'm not kidding. They,
What do
like,
they do? They dump him
unalive
in the
them.
No, what do you mean they disposed of him? What does that mean?
They end their lives. I'm not kidding, man. That's the shit that they do.
Yo, he's not dead. I just looked it up.
Yeah, but like it might happen.
Memory
Yeah,
eternal.
Yeah,
Memory
okay.
eternal. Memory eternal. Then.
What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, look, Bryce. Here's my logic, right? Say that I got rid of him personally, and then put you into
Alright.
the seat of him. Well, then victory for the Palmarians. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, omnipresent.
Oh, good man.
Yep. Thank
This
you.
is a
I'll
really-
think about it.
This is a really fast stream, man. Wow.
That's yeah. I know. It's a rapid fire conversation. What's up, Buzz?
Not much, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
I'm hanging
Doing
out,
well.
man. What's going on?
Hanging out is good. The Trinity is true. Jesus is God. Well, no, I don't believe that because I don't believe God can die. So
You don't believe God can die? You don't believe that?
No.
Do you believe that it's logically possible that God could take on flesh?
I don't believe death is something God can't do. Only
Yeah,
created beings
that
only
wasn't at
created
all what I
beings
just
can die.
asked. So I asked it, could God take on flesh? Could he become a man in any sense? Is it
No, he
logically
cannot
possible?
change. No, he cannot change.
Well, first off, that's implying that means he changes. You
It-
have to
it
argue
does.
as to
If you-
why
if
that
you're
means
not-
he changes.
If you're not a human and then you become human, that means you change it to a human. That means God, and I can't believe God can change. Just
Wait.
like I don't believe God can die.
But if God takes on another nature, then the
means
divinity,
he's
which is
changed.
not no, because the divinity is the thing that would have to change in order for God to change, right?
No. If
Yes,
God-
that's exactly how- that's
if
exactly
God
how
had
that works.
divinity, and then he become a human. That means he's no longer divine. He's divine.
What's your
he's
argument?
human now.
I'm waiting for an argument for that.
I just
waiting
gave you my argument. God can't die.
Okay. Do you want to have
Wow.
do you have an argument for that?
Yes,
Vague.
that means that Jesus is not God. That means
No.
Trinity is
Do you
not
have an
true.
argument that God can't die? That's what I'm asking.
I just told you God cannot die. That's something God can't.
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
Did you hear
What's
him,
it?
Bryce?
Oh, because he can't die. Yeah. What is your argument that he can't die? I don't understand.
Because
Convince me that God
created
can't die.
beings- Because created beings are meant to die. God is not a created being, so he cannot die.
What is the
That's actually
contradiction
not
in
true.
saying that
That
something
means
uncreated?
Jesus-
What is
Jesus
the
is the
contradiction in
created
saying
being.
something uncreated can't die? What is death to
What
you?
do
What do
you
you
mean?
even think death is?
You explain it because you're the one telling me God can die.
You don't even know the definition of death, do you? You're just asking me to explain it because you don't even know how to define death. I'll
Please
define
explain
death
how
for you
God
if you
can
want.
die.
Sure.
No, tell me how God can die.
I believe that God can die because the definition of death simply just means the separation of body and soul, and Christ taking on flesh did that.
Wait a minute. So all you're saying is that death is a separation of body and soul. So why do you make Jesus dying for our sins a big deal? If that's only the case, Jesus died for our sins. God died for our sins. Why is it a big
Yeah.
deal if that's only the case?
Because
so that means
Adam-
another lie.
I mean, I'll explain if you want to stop. So Adam introduced death into the world by committing the
No,
first
he
sin in
didn't.
the
God
garden.
introduced- God
I mean,
introduced death.
you could, I mean, again, like what? What did you say? No, he didn't.
God introduced death.
God
is the creator of
introduced
life and
death.
God is the creator of life and death.
He's the creator of
He's the
life.
creator
and,
of death?
Okay, is death evil?
Death is just what human beings in nature and created things go through.
Is death
Oh.
evil?
How do you define it?
Evil?
He just
Bad.
defined it.
Bad.
Well, you're telling me that if death is evil, that means God died. That means God is evil.
How can God be the creator of life and death?
Wait, if somebody undergoes something
You
that
just
is evil,
told me
doesn't mean that then
God is
therefore he
evil.
becomes
You
evil.
just told me death is evil.
Is death opposing?
I'm saying that the concept of death is not something that is of God, so it would be evil.
So that means God can't die.
Do you believe that God's intention for us originally was to live forever in the garden?
Absolutely not.
No, he
No.
created us to
No.
die. He created us
to worship
specifically to
him.
die.
He created us to worship him. That's
Okay,
it.
hold on.
did he create us to die?
He created us to come to the earth, live, die, and resurrect. He created us to worship him. That's it.
Okay.
We're made to worship God.
So
No-
you
no matter
just
nothing else.
deny the book of Genesis completely.
The book of Genesis is a lie. Book of Genesis, God
What?
need rest.
Okay,
Why would I believe that?
what do you? How do you know any of this then? What book are you using?
Because the book of Genesis said God need rest.
Yeah, what book are you using to determine which
And
one?
the book of Genesis said that God was a scientist. He said God created light and saw that light was good. That is so stupid.
Is Yakub, dude. Anyway, freaking
Dude, they said that God saw light and saw light
Yakub
was
the
good.
scientist.
What is that?
It's Yakub the scientist, bro. Okay,
Wait,
who is
God
the
not a
who?
scientist.
What book are you holding to, bro?
The Quran is the perfect book.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Took him
But I
10,
just
took him
explained to you,
15
I gave
minutes.
my
Took him 15
reason.
minutes.
But I just give you my reasons. Why would
No,
you
again, you haven't made any
that's what God
arguments.
knew rest?
You haven't made any arguments actually
I
against my
did.
position. You just go, God can't do this. God can't do this. God can't do this.
Wait,
I say why,
exactly.
and then you don't give me an argument. I say why can't
Wait,
God?
wait,
do
hold
it?
on. You don't
Well,
believe in the Injil bus?
You guys don't have the Injil, so stop.
Oh,
it.
where is it? Hold on, where is it?
We have the Quran. Why do I need it?
Where is the Injil?
Okay, can I just?
Where's the old
Let me just
iPhone?
let me just
Where's
ask.
the old iPhone? You have it? But you don't need it.
Okay, yo, Buzz,
We have the Quran.
Buzz, let me ask a
Why do I need the
legit
old book
question,
for?
bro. Let me ask a legit question. All right, did the apostles at the time of Jesus, in your view, know that he was the Messiah?
Did he know that he was the Messiah? Yes.
the apostles
the Messiah
know?
is God.
Really? How did they know that Jesus was the Messiah?
Because
If
Jesus
it
told
was the
them
Torah. Oh, because he said it.
That's it.
That's all it
to believe
takes,
it.
and you gotta
He
believe
said
it.
he's the Messiah, and that was it. But he never said he was God, and he can't be God because
No.
because God
I'm not
can't
even.
die.
I'm not even talking about the Bible right now, bro. I'm talking about this is something that's within Islam. It's called the Messiah dilemma. Did the
there is
apostles
no
know that
dilemma.
Jesus?
There is
Okay,
no
so
dilemma.
did Jesus? Did the apostles know that
What
Jesus
is
was
the
God?
dilemma?
Was the Messiah?
What is the dilemma? Explain me the dilemma.
I'm going to.
Can you-
I'm explaining
can you
by
calm
asking
down?
a question. I'm gonna show you.
Can you relax?
What
Relax,
you
my
guys
Jesus.
are lying about God,
Just
right?
wait.
And y'all want us to
You're
like
gonna
accept
stop?
it.
I'm just gonna drop you if you ain't gonna stop, bro. You want to have a conversation or
It's
not?
just
All right. The
ahead, go
apostles,
for
did
it.
they know Jesus was the Messiah?
According to who?
The what? Wait, did the
God
apostles
said-
know
God
that
said that
Jesus was the
Jesus-
Messiah in your view?
In the
Did he know?
Quran, God said Jesus is the Messiah. That's it.
Okay, cool. So again,
God
did
said
the
Jesus is the
apostles
Messiah.
did the apostles know that Jesus was the Messiah?
From a Quranic standpoint, the disciples, not the apostles, the disciples. I don't know about the apostles. Who are the apostles you're talking about? Like Paul? Paul never met Jesus.
Man, I'm
So he
talking
can't be an
about like
apostle.
Matthew, Mark, and Luke, bro. You believe
Those
they
are the
obviously exist.
disciples. They're not
Okay.
apostles. They're disciples.
What's the difference?
So-
What's the distinction between disciple and apostle? Go ahead, since you wanted to
Jesus is
correct
like
me.
an apostle. Jesus is like an apostle. He's a messenger. He's a prophet. Those guys.
Apostle
not
doesn't
apostles.
entail
They did-
messenger. Apostle
they
doesn't
did not
entail
receive-
messenger.
Mark and Luke
That's
did not
another
receive
thing
any
that I want an
revelation.
argument for. Hilariously enough, you just be making
That's
shit
from a
up on the
Christian
spot.
standpoint.
What? No, we believe that an apostle is somebody who directly was with God in the time of the messianic period, which would be Jesus on
But
earth.
that's not us. No, that's not our position on apostles.
Yeah, okay,
hold
so
on,
what's
can you
yours?
Can you
They
define
are disciples.
Yeah.
What does that mean in
What is-
your position?
What's that?
Jesus is like an apostle. He's a messenger. He's a
What
prophet.
is it? Are you okay? Can
Again,
you define it?
What's a
I
disciple?
just told you. I gave an example who he is.
I don't want an example. I
He
want a
got revelation
definition.
from God, right? Jesus
So
got
you're,
revelation
so you're
from
an
God.
apostle if you get revelation from God. Thank
That's
you.
why Mark and Luke are not, because they never got revelation
All
from
right.
God.
Well, in our view, obviously, we call them apostles because we have a different definition of apostle. Are you okay with using mine, or do you want me to use your terminology so you understand it?
No, I can't use your terminology. Pick another one.
Jesus, man.
Wait, what?
How did we go? How did we go from God not dying to this?
Because I already asked you for an argument as to why God can't die, and you didn't even give me one.
Oh,
So
look-
now I'm just
look,
asking
okay,
this question
hey,
because
guys.
now I'm just curious. What do you like? So
But
you're a Muslim. So what do you think? What do you think death is? What is that?
Death is something God can't do. I just told you that.
He apophatically
What is-
explaining
This
it.
is-
What
why
is
can't-
death?
why can't
I'm
you
just
say
asking
that?
you to define death.
I
He just
don't
hit
need
you
to.
with
I just
apophatic
define-
theology.
You don't need to.
I just
You're just
defined
not
that
going to
it's something
engage
God
with me.
can't do.
You're not going to engage with me, is what you're saying. You're not going to engage
What
with a
is it
simple
engage
question.
with?
What is death? Because you're saying
I'm
God
gonna
can't
tell you
die.
this.
What is death?
Apophatic death.
I can't tell you what death is because I never experienced it. What can you tell? I
Wait,
can't
so you haven't
experience
experienced it,
first,
so you
right?
don't know what death is, then, right?
Then
I
how do
know,
you know
God,
you
I know God can't do it.
Why?
Do
From where?
what?
Where is it in the room with
God
you?
cannot die.
Is that fact in the
What
room
is
with you?
dying?
I don't understand. What is
And
death?
look at the stupidity of the conversation between Muslims and Christians. You guys are defending that God can
Yo,
die.
go
We're
make me
saying
a
God
chopped
can't
cheese,
die.
fam.
I mean, I already showed you why there's no issue with that. I just said that it's simply just the separation of body and soul. What if Jesus possessed
But
the
then
body?
why
Fine.
is Jesus dying for our sins a big deal if that's all it is?
Because
You
in
say the
our
blood
view,
of
Adam
Jesus,
in our
the
view,
blood of
Adam is the
Jesus,
one
this,
who
that.
actually introduced death into the world.
No, see, that's
Yeah,
another
no,
one.
I don't care
Adam-
about what you think. I'm giving you my position. I don't give a shit about what the Quran says.
But how
Have you ever
can
heard
Adam
about that?
introduce? How can Adam introduce death when he doesn't control life and death?
Because he possessed universal human nature when he was in the
So
garden.
did Jesus.
No.
You just told me God.
Yeah,
was
wait.
fully
So
human, fully divine.
so Jesus possessed universal human nature then, right?
Jesus.
So
was
if
a
he
human
undergo,
being.
yeah, okay. Do you possess universal human nature?
Of course, I'm like Adam, right?
Yeah,
We're all
that's
descendants
not,
of Adam.
yeah, that's not
We're
what
all
I meant.
descendants of Adam.
That's not what I meant by that, bro.
What did you mean? We're all capable of sinning.
But you're also a specific instantiation of human nature, right?
So was Adam.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Don't start using the word instant. He doesn't even know what instant. No offense, he doesn't know. what
Instantiate is just a representation. You have a source and you instantiate something, man. I know what these words mean.
it's
And
not
like you
just a
Christians keep trying to like
representation. That's not our
move the
definition.
goalposts.
No.
And none of this stuff make any sense.
Okay, why are you so mad? Why do you come up
Because you
here?
guys are
with all
saying
losing
God
it.
can die, and it's
Yeah,
not
again,
true.
I
Did
still
you-
haven't heard an argument as to why God can't die.
this? Did you?
And then
miss
I
the
asked you,
subway?
I asked you to just simply define death, and you said, "I don't know what that is because I ain't gone through it." So then, but you somehow know God can't do it. Like what?
Did you miss?
Dude, you know what? You know technically that somebody
Is
died,
God? Is
right?
God? Is God
And
all?
you
I'm
know
gonna
they're
ask
here.
this stupid question. Is
How
God
can a
all
created
powerful?
being- Excuse me?
Is God all powerful?
God is so powerful he can't die and lie.
Okay, cool.
He can't
So first
lie?
off, I don't see anywhere in the Quran where it says he can't die. By the way, but we'll,
And he
we'll
can't
skip
lie.
that.
Are you?
Yes,
We'll skip-
yes. There
okay.
is in the Quran. Stop.
All right, if you show
Stop.
me. All right, you show me that. I won't say that again.
Chapter
but
2,
we're going.
Chapter 2, 255. Chapter 2,
does it say?
255.
What does it say?
Okay.
Chapter 2, 255. I'll recite it for you off the top of my head.
Don't say
Allah,
it in your like.
there
Don't
is
say it
no
in that.
God worthy of worship except for him, the ever living, the all sustaining.
Oh, we
Wow.
believe
Neither
our God's ever living
drowsiness
too.
or sleep overtakes him.
Okay.
Okay.
You see, I gave you the three sentences, right? Neither drowsiness or sleep overtakes him.
Yeah, but that's
I
sleeping.
forgot-
We're
I
talking
forgot
about. We're talking about death.
Sorry. Let me go back. Allah, there is no God worthy of worship except for him, the ever living, the all sustaining. Neither drowsiness or sleep overtakes him. To him belongs whatever's in the heavens and in the earth.
Okay. What does it
Who
say? He
could
can't
possibly?
die?
The ever living.
Okay, I missed. The
Yeah, I mean, we
subway.
believe
ever
God.
living means he
We
can't
believe
die.
God's ever living because he resurrected,
Right.
so he's ever living.
So how can he die if he's ever living?
Yeah, because he has the ability to die and then resurrect and then be ever living. Like
That's what I'm trying to tell you. God cannot die. There's no ability for that. It
What
just
is-
He's
can't
ever living.
go.
He's ever living in his own essence anyway. So I
Wait,
don't
wait,
understand.
really quick. Can you?
Oh
one more
my
time?
God. I
Yo,
can't
hold
believe
on,
I'm
calm
arguing
down,
with you,
calm
these
down,
guys.
please. Let's calm it down.
Nah, man, I'm
What
about to
is-
leave, man. I'm not arguing about people who think God can die. This is stupid, man. You guys, are you guys
You came up here
Christians?
specifically to make that argument. I am a Christian, yes.
But
God-
how
God
are you
can
gonna be
die.
a Christian and believe that God can die? Like, where's the
Because
rationality from that?
all death means is that it's the separation of
No,
body
because
and
you
soul.
want Jesus to be
We're
God.
defining to you. Okay, if the definition of what he said is wrong, can you tell us what death is, man? Why is that so
Dude,
hard?
How are you able to make a
specific-
positive claim that God can't die if you can't define what death is? How are you
Dude,
capable
I
of
don't
doing
need to
that?
define it. We know God
Oh,
can't
he
do
just
it.
conceded. Get him
Intuitively,
out.
God can't
Get him
do
out.
it.
He just conceded.
Yeah.
He just
um,
conceded.
God is ever
alright,
living.
we done,
just
bro.
concede.
We just kind of done. There's nothing left, bro. I don't know what you want me to do. Like,
Oh my God.
you can't even define what death is. But then when I say why can't God do it, somehow you say, but because he can't do it.
Yo,
Nice.
word of my mother, bro. God can't die, fam. Like really, he can't die, fam. Word of my mother.
No, okay, dude.
Wait, how do you know? How do you know what
How
death
do you
is?
know?
I don't need to know what it is. You just can't die, fam.
He can't die. He just can't die.
Oh man, what a great stream, man. This is fiery today, man.
He simply just can't die, bro. That's just the way it is. You know. Hello.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Nothing
What's up?
much, man. What's going on?
Wait, so what's death again? Okay, I'm sorry.
In our worldview, death just simply means the separation. Oh, are you trolling me?
Yeah, I'm just
Ah,
trolling.
oh,
I'm trolling. I was listening to the last conversation.
Man.
So yeah, just wanted to have like a conversation. Like if you don't want to have it, then that's fine. You can just drop me.
Okay.
But I'll keep it simple. But I'm a Protestant.
All right.
I fully understand the problems with Protestantism,
Okay.
and I'm looking for, I don't know, something that's not Protestant.
You think that
But
you think that because it sounds to me like you're kind of looking into like apostolic Christianity and historical Christianity, bro. Yes, I want to have this conversation with you. You kidding me?
okay, that's good. But yeah, I've been looking for a while now, and I'll be honest, it's just like it's really hard to decide. But it's not that it's a decision on my part, but I don't know. I just like I just want to like I just trying to like ask, you know,
Sure.
Catholics or Orthodox people why there's the true church, basically.
Well, I mean, obviously, like since I'm Eastern Orthodox, I'm going to make the argument, like at least we can walk through a bunch of different stuff, but it's obviously a assertion on the surface, and then we can talk about any of the topics that you want that I mentioned. But I believe that the historical church follows the ecclesiology, the triadology, the soteriology of the Eastern Orthodox Church perfectly. And I don't believe that there's any mechanics within the first millennia church or the original church of Christianity that contradicts the Eastern Orthodox Church. I believe that the other churches that exist do contain contradictions or said innovations of the original church. Therefore, I would say that Eastern Orthodoxy must be the true church that way.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty familiar against like what Protestantism would be, so I guess I'll just ask like what's wrong with like Catholicism? What would be like the contradiction of Catholicism?
The issue that
specifically?
I see with Catholicism is a couple different things. I deny their understanding of ecclesiology when they believe in things like papal supremacy and papal infallibility. I don't believe that was demonstrated in the first millennia at all. And then I don't believe that it was the phronema or the mindset of the church. Of course, I believe that there was obviously some people that tried to gain power in some way, shape, or form. And then I believe that they hold to an accretion or a complete innovation, which is the filioque. I believe that the filioque was not within the first millennia church. So those are kind of like
Right.
the two main ones. There's a couple other things that are kind of like speculative. Like I don't necessarily agree with like the Thomistic understanding of absolute divine simplicity, but that's kind of like a really niche argument that doesn't really kind of like butter the toast.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I'm a little familiar with that objection as well. Um,
Space, if you don't mind me asking, what
Sure.
where are you coming from? Like you said you're Protestant, where specifically are you coming out of?
Like what denomination in
Yeah.
Protestantism?
Yeah.
Well, I want to say Baptist, but I wouldn't even go that far. I would just say non-denominational.
Okay. I mean, have you ever visited an Orthodox church ever?
I haven't. Like I wanted to. I just recently, got a car and stuff like that, but I wanted to, but there's just none very close to me. I went to college and it was a Catholic college, like private school kind of deal. But back then I didn't really, I wasn't really saved, so
Okay.
I don't really care. So
I mean,
but I
I would
went to that church.
I would recommend, man, at any point in time, if you do get an opportunity, I know it could be a far drive. I don't know how far, but like I drive an hour away to like my church, right? So I would just say, man, if you can make the time at some point just to visit a liturgy, and most importantly, like we can tell you all the contentions. It's going to be obviously up to you. You're going to have to do the research, right? And you're going to have to read the patristics, and make your decision, right? But I would say, like, obviously visit an Orthodox church. That is the best apologetic, I think, for Orthodoxy, is actually visiting a divine liturgy. So,
And I will testify to that. I have heard people say that many times, is just go and like just come and see.
I swear it's true, bro. The first thing that people say for the first time is like, "This is different." Like every time.
Yeah,
every time.
it's very true.
Because like, and Bryce, I've been a follower for you for a while. I think we've actually talked once before about evolution. But I would say I remember part of your testimony was like when you were Protestant, and you were in the worship services and the lights and the that stuff, and it kind of just
There was
like
one
felt,
day
after a while, it was just like draining.
There
almost.
was one day where I was sitting at my church. I still kind of remember it. I don't even know if I've said this story specifically to people before, but there was a specific day where I was holding my hands up to some Protestant song. The fog machine was going, the lights were going, and
Fog machine.
and like I kind of just put my hands down, and then I just kind of like sat there, and I was like, "Is this really how we worship the God of the universe?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just something that kind of like just slammed me out of nowhere, and I didn't. And then me and my wife kind of stopped going to church for a while after that, like, because she kind of was having similar thoughts as well, and eventually I kind of just started looking into it, like I debated an Orthodox Christian back when I was a Protestant. I got absolutely freaking I got baked bad. Yeah, it was bad.
I didn't even know that.
I
That's
did.
crazy.
Yeah. I used to debate in politics and religion, the Discord server, and it was called Edgy, is what it's called. It's basically just like an absolute degenerate server, but there's a ton
God, I know what
there's
that
a ton
is.
of debate channels. But there's a bunch of debate channels where you can basically talk to anybody. And I thought, oh, what better way to spread the gospel than go into these Discord channels and try to bring people to Christ, who are sitting in these absolute degen servers, right? And so I just said, let's screw it, because like I don't have the ability to just go out in the street and preach like as much or anything like that. So I decided to do that. And there was an Orthodox guy in there that absolutely baked me, and I didn't know what to do. Like that happened after, by the way, that spiritually I kind of like sat there and I was like, this is dumb. Like there's no way this is it. There's no way that this is everything that God offers. I know that sounds really terrible on the surface.
Was it after
but
that?
like
Was it
it
after
was,
he baked
but
you?
like it was basically just that there's no way that this is what Jesus instituted. There just can't be. Like, and then the debate happened after that, and then my whole worldview fell apart, and I didn't know what to do anymore. Like, so
right after that combo,
it was very shortly after that. Yeah, it was probably a couple days after that. I was
you went through a crisis. That's crazy.
Oh, I had an existential crisis. It was horrible. Like I was losing my mind, because like I toyed with like abandoning Christianity completely. Like I toyed with a bunch of different stuff. I mean, I even like looked at like what if Islam is true? What if freaking all these things? Like I looked at it. I started kind of looking lightly at everything.
What if Islam is true? That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, bro, it happens.
You're gonna be asking what death is, bro. Don't be asking what death is.
Exactly. Ask what death is.
Yeah.
By the way, Space, I did send you. I know you probably already know. I sent you. It's a website called assemblyofbishops.org. It can find you your closest parish. If you just go to the directory tab and go to parishes and type your zip code in, you should find one, the closest possible. It really does give you the closest possible.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Of course, dude. I mean, come back. Let us know if you went, and it'd be cool, man, to hear. I always like to hear people's like experience, like for the first time. It's cool.
Yeah, I do have one more question now.
Sure.
So I'd say specifically, I want to say something that's hard for me to accept. I understand you guys accept it, but I would say is like Mary's sinlessness, and being like the Queen of Heaven, things like that. But I will say I do understand like praying to saints, stuff like that. Like I understand that's just like intercession, just like we would do on earth. Like I'm okay with that. But like Mary's perpetual virginity, I don't know. I would say specifically with that, it's like Jesus having like brothers. And I understand like the interpretation is the brothers are like, blood brothers, but like a
friends.
friend or friends and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
That's just the majority of the contexts that are always applied in like Hebrew culture when it comes to calling somebody a brother. I mean, it's just the likelihood in the Bible of brother being blood brother compared to brother as in friend when it comes to the amount of times that word appears in the Old and New Testament is like ridiculously on the side of it meaning friend. So it's also kind of just like a consistency check, where you kind of assume that it would be a consistency check on that point, as well as the fact that there also are some prophecies that we do believe kind of like move towards hold on, let me see if I can pull it up here. Like we do believe that there's some prophecies in the Old Testament that also kind of caters to that. Now, give me a second. The perpetual virginity or a prophecy.
R.I.P. my granny. She got
Yeah,
hit
here we
by
go. All right, so yeah, it's Ezekiel 44. So this is a prophecy regarding the priesthood being restored, right? I'll read this in the NKJV just because that's easy to read. We can use different ones if you'd like, but so it says, "Then he brought me back to the outer gate of the sanctuary, which faces towards the east, but it was shut. And the Lord said to me, This gate shall be shut, and it shall not be opened, and no man shall enter it by it, because the Lord God of Israel has entered it. Therefore it shall be shut. For the prince, because he is the prince, he may sit to eat the bread before the Lord, but he shall enter by way of the vestibule of the gateway and go out the same way." So when it comes to the part where it says that if the Lord has entered it and therefore no man shall enter it, right? And so we believe that actually is a prophecy towards the fact that since the Lord entered Mary's womb, that actually would then necessitate that then no man shall then therefore enter, because we believe that actually Mary is the typo, or the Ark of the Covenant, for example, is a typology to Mary.
Oh, that's right. I remember I've heard this before. So it's basically like Mary is like the new Ark of the Covenant.
Yes, and
Okay.
Christ comes through that, right? And so if it is a typology, historically speaking, from the way that the Old Testament was held to, if the Lord entered the temple, if the Lord entered the ark or whatever, no man shall enter it, no man shall be with it ever again, right? That is the general rule of thought when it comes to that. If Mary is considered the one who is the new Ark of the Covenant, then by default, actually, that would necessitate that she is a perpetual virgin, meaning that there would be no form of consummation that would exist that would basically cause her womb to bear another child, because the Lord was bored through her already. So the Lord was actually in her and exited her that way. So then, therefore, no man would be involved in that after her.
Wow, I've actually never heard that before. I know there's the other. You're gonna have to help me on this one. There's the other verse where it's like, I want to say it's in Revelation, with it was like referencing like a Queen of Heaven or something along those lines.
Hold on one second here.
Oh, you're talking about
Revelation
the,
12. Revelation 12 with the woman clothed in the sun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that we believe
Yeah,
that's
when
referring to that.
And when it says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, the great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon its heads." Right? And then she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Who is that? Who would that be?
Yeah, that would be Mary.
Yeah, but it seems like it's very obvious that she's greatly revered in heaven, especially in the time of Revelation. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, she wears the 12, like a crown of 12 stars, which obviously signifies the 12 apostles, right? Like in terms of the 12, like the elders, the 12 main elders. Of course, there's 24 as the witnesses at the time of a book of Hebrews, I think, Revelation. My bad. When it says, "And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent." Right. So it's very obvious that it's also implying that Mary as well is the new Eve, right? Because it says in Genesis 2, I think it's Genesis 2 or Genesis 3, no, Genesis 3:5, I think.
That they'll like bore something to crush the head.
Yes.
It's vague, but I understand what you're saying.
Yes, and that's exactly what Mary did. So Mary is the new Eve, right, in that case. And if Mary is there, and if, you know how we'd say that the new Adam is the perfect representation of the failure of the original or the prototype?
Right.
Right. What is one of the things that Eve did that that technically the typology or the new one would not do?
You have to help me out here.
Disobey God, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So if she is the new Eve, which is pretty evident that she is the new Eve, would you consider that if she's the perfect representation of the new Eve, that she would never have
Oh, that
disobeyed God?
she would never disobey God. Okay, I see.
Yeah. And again, we do believe that she was assumed in, like, she died, she
Yeah,
passed.
we
and
do
then
believe
she
that,
was
yeah.
assumed to die.
Yeah, we believe in the door mission. We do believe that she was died and
Yeah.
then she was assumed into heaven after her death.
I do actually I do know that.
Okay.
Like the assuming part. I'm not necessarily sure I believe it, but I had learned about it actually. Didn't even know about it till I went to Italy. Like me and my family went to Italy, went to the Vatican. We
Oh,
saw
yeah.
like the early churches. Dude, it was beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
Like all those churches are
Yeah.
so amazing.
No, they're very
The
beautiful.
Lions got it right, man.
Yeah. Like they're so beautiful. But
They
Gotta
do
go to
be
that.
they do be gotten some they do have
Yeah.
some fire
Architect.
architecture.
fire architecture.
And I remember, I think it was in St. Paul's Basilica. There was a
Peter's or
picture
St.
there.
Paul?
I'm pretty sure it was St. Paul's
Oh, okay.
Basilica.
Okay.
Paul Basilica. Okay.
There was the one with like the popes, like with the pictures. There's like each pope with like a circle picture, whatever.
Yeah.
I think in there was like a picture of like Mary being assumed in heaven. That's the first time I learned about it.
I don't know if they believe. I don't know if they have a definite
I don't think they have. I don't think they have a dogmatic position on whether or not she died or
He
not.
died.
Because I'm pretty sure the Eastern Catholics hold that she hold the Dormition, and they're not considered heretics for that.
Yeah. And then you said space as well. Sorry, you also said that you have an issue with like you said that her being sinless. Like that concept is hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah, that too. I mean, Bryce also kind of went over it with like Eve.
Okay.
Like she being the typology with the new Eve, which makes sense. And I know there's. Okay, actually, I will ask about this. There's the one verse in Luke where she has like this like eternal grace like given to her.
Yeah, the perfect present participle when it says that she's
Yeah, I
full
wanted-
of grace.
Yeah.
One second.
I wanted.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Dabix Young 3931 super chatted $10. I caught the last part of your debate with the Muslim guy. It was entertaining even though there wasn't much depth to it.
There was definitely not very much depth to that debate. God can't die, man. Okay, can you define death? No, I can't. But God can't do it.
But he can't die.
But he can't do it though. Yeah.
What am I
Thank you
doing?
very much for the $10 there, Abby. Yeah, literally.
So yeah, I was asking like, is that like ever applied to anyone else? To anyone, or is it just like specifically to Mary?
That's kind of one of the argumentations, is that being full of grace is something that's only specially attributed to Mary, and that it's an ongoing and ever process that has always been. Right. That's kind of the entire point for that argument.
Okay.
Because that's why it is a perfect present participle. It's not something that that's declared right then and there and is therefore true upon the proposition. Right. It's something that had already been the case but is currently still the case.
Okay. Because I think I thought I heard, and don't throw up a little when I say his name, but I thought Johnny Chang had said it like that it happened.
You told me not to throw up, but I'm really trying, bro.
I'm Johnny Chang. The Trinity's my T-shirt, my eyebrows, and my hair.
Bro, Johnny Chang is one of the reasons why I was like, bro, Protestantism.
Don't do the Lord's Prayer, right?
This cannot be true, bro. Don't do the Lord's prayer. This stuff where he always says this. This is what always pisses me off. He always says, we just gotta remain gospel centric. And I'm like, no, Johnny, that's what's in question. That's what we're talking about.
What the heck does gospel centric mean, bro?
mean?
What is that?
How do you not understand that, dude?
never
You
know
don't
what
read
that
your
means.
you don't read your Bible, fam? Come on, dude.
Yeah, dude, you just don't read your Bible. You don't know the gospel. You don't read your Bible. Yo,
It's like, I don't know, bro.
Come
look,
on,
man.
JP.
I just wanna say this, bro. Literally every single heretic that's ever existed in the first millennia. Arius, Eunomius, Pelagius, freaking, oh gosh, why am I forgetting some of them? Freaking Pyrrhus, Trypho, right? Like, pretty much just like everybody who was ever condemned in the early church. all of them believed that they could personally interpret the scriptures.
Oh wow. No, that's just a coincidence.
It's always the reason why the councils have to be called, because they say, I think the Bible says this, and then he starts convincing a bunch of people of it, and then they had to do an ecumenical council because they're like, okay, dude. Like, so if councils existed in the first place, first off, that's the easiest argument against sola scriptura historically. If sola scriptura was simply the case, councils would have never happened.
Because there wouldn't be disagreements.
Because there wouldn't be, the true church would never have those disagreements, right?
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I have one more question. I don't know if there's like other people in the queue, but
there's one more. I think, yeah,
it's one just about like the Pope. So I've heard arguments like some of the early church fathers. Now, I'm not too familiar on the church fathers, so I was still gonna have to do my research anyway on it. But like some of the early church fathers very explicitly say that like Peter was, he was like the bishop among bishops.
Honorary.
And I'd say that there's a couple of them that kind of elevate him as a more of a shepherd of the flock than others. Sure. And I don't have an issue with saying that that's the case either, that he was considered the shepherd of the apostles.
Really?
No, I mean, like in Orthodoxy, we don't have an issue with saying that Rome was given a special task in terms of being the shepherd. What we argue against is that means that the shepherd is incapable of defecting from his flock. That's what I don't agree with. See, they believe it's not possible for the shepherd to basically defect from the flock. So then, therefore, there's basically a grounding point in which that we can determine whether or not any of the sheep are correct. When it comes to, like, I don't know, argumentation, we would say that in Orthodoxy that it's perfectly normal to assume that the shepherd or the one who's assigned, right, in a preeminent manner. Now, granted, that preeminence, according to like most of the fathers, like especially like Saint Irenaeus and them, like they believe that Rome was preeminent because of the fact that it was doubly apostolic, which means that it was held by Paul and Peter. Right. But that's not the Catholic position. They believe that the power is specifically for Peter. Right. But then we literally have St. Irenaeus verbatimly stating that the power of Rome is through the two apostles. So, like, it's just, and in our view, that's our position. That's why we think that Rome is so special, is because it's doubly apostolic in that manner.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that, because I always thought that, like, I didn't like think about it that way, like that Rome was special, because I remember
they have great honor for a multitude of reasons, like scripturally as well. If you go to Matthew 16 as well, like, I mean, two chapters later in that, you see that same authority also given to the other apostles as well.
Yeah. Hey, Moses, by the way, assuming that somebody is not chrismated just because of the fact that they're on a TikTok live, I really hope that you're ready to answer for that by actually trying to make the claim that people aren't chrismated or people aren't within the Church of God. I am chrismated. So, like, again, like trying to basically make a funny joke that somebody's not within the body of Christ. I hope you're ready to.
You can make that joke with me. Make the joke with me. It's okay.
Because it's kind of slimy. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, Space. Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought a bit, but yeah, I guess I never heard that Rome was specifically like important to the because I feel like at least that's what Catholics would say, is because Rome is seen as more important. And some of the early church fathers, that would imply like that.
Yep. There is most cases. There's a lot of cases where Rome was appealed to for a lot of situations. They were the biggest and they were the largest in terms of scholastic thought. They had the most theologians.
LOL, he looks more like he belongs in the Yakuza than preaching about
Oh my god.
The funny thing about that is that he
Abby, thank you for the $10. I appreciate it.
The funny thing is he actually had some ties to the Yakuza. I'm not even lying to you.
Dude, no,
I'm being serious. I'm not making that up. Like, you can look it up.
No, you've got to be making that up. I can't.
I swear he has ties. He has ties.
No.
Space, right. Just be based, man. Go to an Orthodox church.
Yeah, I gotta just go.
You have to.
You do.
That's
Absolutely.
what Jim Bob said too, man.
I bet that is
Very
exactly
much
what
so,
Jim
bro.
Bob said, bro. Because
Yeah,
that's
that's what he
because
said. You
that
just gotta
is the
go.
best method.
I
bro.
swear it's not, and there's nothing wrong. Like I hear people like, "Oh, why don't you get like?" No, it really is. Like I'm not just saying that as like some like rhetoric statement. Like it truly is the best apologetic.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
All right, man. I'll go. I'll go.
You better. I'm gonna follow you.
Better
You
go,
better,
bro.
you better
Boom.
come back and tell
I'll,
us.
I'll come back and I'll see what happens, bro. We'll see what happens.
All right, cool. God bless, man.
All right, I'll see you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Sure thing.
God
Pope,
bless.
Pope McGregor victory first round. Oh yeah, Conor McGregor's fighting next Saturday.
All right.
Or sorry,
I gotta use the bathroom real quick, and then I'm gonna bring up Ecclesia, and then if William's in there, I'll
Okay.
bring up William.
That's fine.
Oh, also Free is in the chat too. It's gonna get good. It's gonna get real good, but I just gotta use the bathroom.
Okay. I'm gonna sing for you guys. Okay. I'm gonna sing My Way. Here we go. And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it God's way. God bless you guys. I just sang for your chat, bro. I just sang for your chat while you were gone. Look at the glaze comment. I just sang for the chat, man.
You sang for the chat.
Yeah. I serenaded them.
Okay, dude. Wow.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there are kind of two things I want to discuss. The first point is pretty small because I think I know your guys' position, but I just want to make sure because I've heard a lot of Eastern Orthodoxes talk about a univocal counting method of division. I'm not sure if you hold to that or not.
I mean, I'm usually just using relative identity when it comes to stuff like that, rather.
I,
Are you just
But
talking,
the
are you talking
relative
about
identity-
like are you talking about like when somebody says how many gods are you counting in the Trinity or whatever?
yeah, dude, you just say division or are we counting by identity there?
Well, for gods, I would say identity because it'd be one.
And okay, what about something like natures? You guys would count by identity as well?
Well, I mean, like if you're talking about like the way that Orthodoxy normally would address this type of problem, we'd address it the same way that Saint Gregory of Nyssa would. So I mean, I would say that I count gods by their power. There's one singular power that's in the Trinity,
power.
therefore that there's one God, one singular energy, one token specifically in the Trinity.
And-
Therefore, there's one being.
Well, the reason I brought that up is just because I've heard Eastern Orthodox say that they count by division, but I think that poses a problem because like the natures that are in Christ after the union are not divided, and so I would contend with that how they even count two natures after the union, but it seems like you don't even agree.
Well, I
with that.
mean,
And so
you know, if you want to get like super meta, technically speaking, I mean, Constantinople tomb literally affirms en theoria. So, because think of it like this, right? Even though that technically speaking, right, they're inseparable from each other in Christ. You don't count two beings in Christ, right?
it depends on what you mean by being,
I mean,
because I've heard people define being as substance, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine, two substances in Christ.
yeah, but I mean, like, are you referring to substance in that manner, as in like an instantiation, or just the universal?
No. The universal, but even though God is not a universal,
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever use the word being to mean something universal. That's a little weird for me, at least in my view. But I think that kind of like causes a problem, because then at that point, like, I think it starts to muddy the waters on like what you actually consider a being and not a being, right? And then you have to have a different meaning for a different being, or a different meaning for two different types of beings, and it becomes a huge pain in the butt. But
Yeah, the language is weird. But the second point I wanted to bring, we can just move past that. I just wanted to clarify. The second point I wanted to talk about was sort of like the more broader
honey, why'd you turn off
epistemological
comments?
question.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Just the more broader epistemological question about how to think about miracles. I'm sure you have Catholics come up here and talk about, Marian apparitions and stuff like this all the time.
So you might be familiar.
I mean, sometimes, like, I've seen a couple, like, I've talked with Rumi before. Rumi sent me a paper to read on Fatima, because Fatima is a lot more oriented specifically to the Roman Catholic Church, as I don't remember the claims made, but something about how Mary, I guess, said
The
something about how
Immaculate.
you need to literally be at the Catholic Church or something under the Pope or some shit. I don't know. I don't remember.
She said things that she made claims about. That's actually exactly what I wanted to talk about. So the paper Rumi
Well, I
probably
don't-
sent you was the one by Ethan Muse.
Yeah, and like I said, like, I've skimmed through that stuff, so like there's not, if you want me to be 100% real, I'm not going to be able to provide you with a refutation of the Fatima apparition. My argumentation is that I don't believe that miracles are capable of proving the true church or proving the false church.
Yeah,
mainly
that's actually
because-
what I wanted to discuss.
Okay.
Is the epistemological question about how to think about miracles in general, not just Fatima.
Sure.
So,
hey, honey,
yeah,
can you please turn the chat back on? You killed it. Like, you turned off the comments entirely, and nobody can chat on TikTok. I don't know if that was an accident, but.
And
Okay, so what's up?
maybe we could speak about miracles more tied to prophets in general, or did you just want to talk about sort of broader miracles like healing miracles or something like that? It's up to you.
We can talk about any of them. I mean, I don't care.
I think in the Christ uses miracles sort of to vindicate himself, especially to people that are not very educated. And so things like healing miracles are types of miracles that think people like or demons can't perform. Because of verses like what's it called? Matthew 15:25-28, where there was this woman who observed Jesus perform a healing miracle and confessed her faith in Christ, and instead of Christ, sort of without any prior revelation. And so she confessed her faith in Christ, and Christ did not condemn her for doing this, and instead he said that the woman was of great faith. And so I think we can associate healing miracles to someone that is from God, right?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say
Interesting.
that a healing miracle automatically necessitates that it's from God, because that would basically necessitate that basically all of these Pentecostal people that claim that these exact same things are happening to them actually gives their church more credence.
I would like to see an example of a Pentecostal healing miracle.
Yeah. So, like, for example, like, I used to be Pentecostal myself, and there were multiple different situations where I knew people that had like pretty bad physical ailments, and we used to go to like these deliverance conferences and stuff, and these people used to have demons casted out of them, and they would be physically like, basically their physical ailments would disappear over time after this. It could have been placebo. It could have been a psychological, like a general psychological hysteria that works the other way around, right? Like, I think that it's not, I don't think that it's entirely possible that Satan doesn't have the ability to heal the body. I definitely don't think that that's not possible. I think that people could possibly make deals with the devil in order to, for example, gain a physical ability back in their body. I think that's totally
okay.
possible.
I'm wondering then. Do you think I'm going to represent an argument really quick, and you can tell me in principle if you think this is a bad argument? If Satan casts out Satan, then his house will not stand. Do you think that's a bad argument?
I don't think that's a bad argument. That's in the Bible.
Exactly. So Satan can't cast out demons. That's a miracle that demons can't perform.
Yeah, but the obviously Satan cannot literally cast out demons. The problem is Satan can make it seem like there are demons within you that he's casting out. He can convince you. He can convince you that you are demonically possessed, and you may not actually be demonically possessed, but he utilizes your hysteria in that manner. Like, for example, like all these people that supposedly at these Pentecostal churches, like I've personally seen myself, freaking out, rolling on the floor, vomiting, all of this kind of stuff, right? Do you think all of that is from God or no? Do you think that these grifters are performing these miracles?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But what I think the way to approach these types of events, especially with like you mentioned that you think it's possible that Satan could deceive somebody into thinking they are possessed. I mean, why didn't the Pharisees could have made that exact same argument to Jesus when he made that argument where if Satan cast out Satan, then how can Satan's house stand? And they could have just been like, well, how do you know Satan was just pretending for him to be demonically possessed? It seems like an argument would work against Jesus.
I mean, it wouldn't be an argument against Jesus just because of the fact that the Pharisees didn't bring up that argumentation doesn't mean that what I said still doesn't stand.
But would it refute Jesus' point about
no?
If Satan casts out Satan, how can Satan's house stand?
Because
you're just saying, what if you?
Because Jesus isn't wrong when he says Satan can't cast out Satan. He's still not wrong when he says that.
He's saying that. He's responding to the Pharisees.
But Satan can make you think that he's casting out Satan. That doesn't mean he's casting out Satan.
I don't know about that. That's interesting because if you say that Satan can make it appear like he's casting like other demons out, then Jesus' argument in principle wouldn't be good. Because he's saying you can recognize, and because the Pharisees were doubting whether he's from God. Because they say Satan casts out Satan. They're saying demons are casting out demons. And then he's saying, if demons were casting out demons, then their house wouldn't be able to stand. And so his argument is that you can tell I'm from God because I'm casting out a demon. Okay. And you're saying, no, you can't because he's just making it seem like he's casting out demons.
So let me go back to the thing that I said originally then. You said that you don't believe that these grifters are actually casting demons out of people, right?
Well, that's a very general statement. Maybe some of them are true. Some of them are actually demonically possessed, and God is working through this church, not to vindicate it, but to demonically free people.
Okay, so you don't believe that miracles vindicate churches then?
No, I'm saying vindictive miracles would vindicate churches, obviously, like analytically. But because
wouldn't you say that experiential miracles within a church? If I approach a shepherd of a flock, and this shepherd performs a miracle, wouldn't that be something that would convince me to stay within that church, just on its own?
No, not on its own, because God can work miracles through other churches. I believe Our Lady of Zaytun was a true miracle, and that happened over
That's literally
the
church. entire point I'm giving, is that a miracle doesn't specifically help towards a specific church because of the fact that the fact that you just admitted they can happen in any church means that, like, even if there was some form of thing that happened that would vindicate some other type of church or say that. I mean, like, I can't even tell you probably the amount of times that people have probably said, like, this is the church of God, and then people get healed or some shit. Like, I mean, now what? You know what I mean? Like, is it the church of God? No. Of course not.
Well, that actually, I don't think that would actually happen unless that was in the Catholic. Okay, so there's a criteria that the Bible provides for, like, determining whether or not miracles and signs and wonders are from God. And it's that the prophet has to say it in the name of God, and has to make prophecy that comes to pass. Those are the two criteria. And so if we can, if
to do a miracle,
if a prophet, no, to vindicate a specific, person.
And I also believe that, like, most of them also have historical continuity with the previous, right? That's always like.
What about the first prophet?
What do you mean? What about the first? You talking about Abraham or Noah?
Yeah. Abraham's fine. Either one.
I'm about to say, because there's two different perspectives on that, whether it's Noah or Abraham. I mean, like, when we're talking about, like, Abraham, he's at that point, the historical validity has to do with his physical lineage. And then, obviously, yes, that would have to do with miracles, especially in that time. But at the same time, due to the fact that in the New Testament, when it says specifically that the faith has been delivered and the faith is sealed, right, I do believe that is more evidence towards them saying that all of these prophetic miracles and all of these different ways to try to see who's from God and who isn't is no longer necessary. And then it literally says that Satan is going to try to come in my name, right? Like, all these types of things. So, like, so people are going to attempt to say, they're going to attempt to use miracles as an argument as to why you should follow me and not that guy.
Right, so how do we determine the true miracles from the false miracles?
That's the entire point that I'm giving, is why we don't use miracles to vindicate churches.
You don't. Oh, okay, got you. Okay, I see. So I want to put ourselves in the perspective of the people that Abraham went to. So Abraham received divine revelation.
I believe that the epistemology of the people at the time of Abraham were entirely different than how we have it now, because there was no church established yet. So obviously God has to use a different methodology.
So, which would be miracles?
Huh?
Which would be miracles? How does he vindicate himself? So how does Abraham vindicate himself to the people?
I said that there would be such. I believe that there would be such extreme miracles, especially like the things that were performed in Abraham's time, that would vindicate this said thing. Like, for example, like Abraham, by the way, prophesied that something was going to happen, and it happened multiple times, even in his own lifetime. Like, for example, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
So prophecy is something that we can know that if they make prophecy in the name of God, that they are from God.
I believe that's one of the categories that could be applied, sure. If there's no established church, then that would have to be one of the epistemic purposes. But I believe that after the church was established, that the necessity of thinking that prophecy only comes from said thing, or that people are only verified as, I don't know, from God if they demonstrate this said thing or whatever, like that would negate like a ton. Like if that is an essential category, back then maybe that was an essential category. But nowadays, right, if you have a priest who's a amazing holy man, right, great guy, but let's say he doesn't perform any special miracles other than the sacraments, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't assume just off of that he's not from God. You'd be able to assume that he's from God because of the institution in which that you could trace him from, right? In a general sense.
Right. If there are no miracles that vindicate what he's saying, then you would have to verify him through like the teachings.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, if there's a church father that says, "Hey, there's a man named Joseph that's going to be your priest in 30 years," and then that happens, then when you could be like, "Damn." You know what I mean?
Right. Because demons can't perform prophecy, right?
I don't believe that's exact. I don't believe they can perform future prophecy.
Right.
I do.
Anything other than future prophecy.
Well, so like we have an example in our church of in the 1000s. His name is Saint Nikitas of Kiev, and he was deceived by a demon to basically believe that he could prophesy, and all he was doing was that he was basically preaching about stolen goods that he knew where they were. Right, he would just know where they were because the demons were basically giving him information about the present in that moment. Right, so like, for example, I believe a demon could read your thoughts. Do you think that?
Read my thoughts,
or like understand your emotions? Right? Could they read your emotions or understand how you're feeling from the outside?
I don't know. I don't know about that because the only type of knowledge that a demon has is infused from God. So it's like it's infused knowledge.
I'm not talking.
So God is like putting these thoughts in the demon's brain. I don't know. Not sure about that.
What?
If you're saying whether or not God is putting these thoughts in
so you don't believe that a demon has a process of action without God instilling it?
No. So the only way a demon knows things is not naturally because they're supernatural, and so they know things through infused knowledge.
Yeah.
And so God illuminates the demons to know certain things.
Yeah.
I don't think God illuminates the demons to know my thoughts, though. I don't see why that's the case.
Okay, what if, for example, you were to be practicing something that would be considered heretical or a god, or you're anathema? Right? Would you say that God would give you over to the demons in that way? Obviously, yes. I don't believe that demons have the power on their own to perform these actions. I'm not saying that.
I mean, even we have stuff like discursive reasoning. Demons don't have that either. Everything they know is just infused from God. It's just infused into them. Like they don't reason to things. So I'm just saying that maybe it's the case because there are things where like Gabriel will go up to Mary and be like, I do not be afraid because like maybe she was afraid or something like that. And then so in that way, so I'll accept that for now because like it seems like angels do think in that way sometimes where like God illuminates certain thoughts to certain angels or demons.
Okay.
So I grant it. And what else?
So if, for example, like a demon has the ability per se to know what emotion you feel in any certain moment, right?
I don't know about that. Any certain moment?
I'm talking about like a specific moment, man. Like the moment that you granted, where a demon does that action.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Does he have the ability to comfort you?
Yeah. He can like lie to me. Yeah.
Okay. So a demon can comfort you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is the exact same thing that happened to Saint Nikitas of Kiev, where he believed that he was comforted, right, by a angel that manifested to him, but it ended up actually being a demon. And so he believed it was the Holy Spirit because he was being comforted every day by this said thing.
Okay.
But it ended up actually being a demon through the experience of basically the way that the church was seeing it. because the first off, he wasn't allowed to utter the New Testament. That was something that he was eventually told by this angel, supposed angel. He wasn't allowed to utter the New Testament. He was only allowed to utter the Old Testament, and he has to basically just quote unquote read books, like read like philosophy books, basically. And so, and in this time, during this whole time that he was following this demon, right, he was given power. Right, he was given power by this demon to make it think like he was basically prophesying, to make him think that he was healing people, all of these situations. And that's a story from the 1000s, like from the 11th century. And so, and this ended up obviously being a demon because he eventually went insane, mentally insane, and the church ended up actually casting a demon out of him because there ended up actually being a demon within him that the church prayed away. The people that were above him. And the simple example that was used was St. Isaac the Syrian dealing with this exact same issue, right? St. Isaac of Nineveh. And so, like, we don't have an issue with thinking that miracles can be attributed to demons. That's why I'm saying that, like, I don't believe that miracles as a foundation for the truth is a good idea.
Okay, maybe the best way to tackle this then is, do you think
got
that
like
there
a couple
are
more
certain
minutes,
miracles?
and I do want to move on because I got multiple guests like requesting. But go ahead.
Bro, I was waiting for so long. You talking? Okay, no worries. It's up to you. It's your life. Okay, do you think that there are certain miracles that only God can perform that demons can't?
I believe a change in soul, a complete change in soul, and a complete commanding of the earth.
So, what about something like the resurrection?
I don't believe that
Demons
the devil
can do that?
I don't believe he has the power to undo death. No.
Okay. So, and what about something like, you think the demons can heal people and heal things without casting out other demons? Can they heal?
I believe that the devil has the ability to fix physical ailments. Yes, if that is a power that's granted, obviously the way that you're talking about it. Right, I do believe that demons have the ability to deceive people in that manner. They may be healing them for the wrong reason, but I do believe that something like that could occur. Right, like you could, for example, make a quote unquote deal with the devil to, I don't know, not have back problems anymore, but you have to do blah blah blah.
Okay,
but there's like a this for that type situation.
Okay, so what's interesting is, do you think like is the only thing that God could have done that demons can't do?
What?
Oh, do you think that the resurrection... Can you hear me still or no?
Yeah, your mic just changed completely for a second.
Yeah, it did. Okay, my AirPods disconnected. Okay, do you think that healing... or?
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's up?
Oh, my bad. I was just asking, do you think that the resurrection was the only thing that demons can't do that God can do?
I don't believe that I don't believe that the devil has the ability to basically undo the entropy of the fall. No.
Okay, so what's interesting is that Nicodemus, when in his dialogue with Jesus, he says, he says, Rabbi, we know that art a teacher from God, for no man can do these signs which thou dost, unless God be with him. So there are certain signs that a prophet can perform.
Sure.
Right? Okay. So I'm wondering, maybe, what do you think those signs are? Because Jesus never performed any prophecy prior to John 3, which is when this discourse was. The only signs he was doing was like healing and stuff like that. The first prophecy he had was about his own death.
I think it was specifically, so there's a difference, right? You know how like in every single situation where Jesus is healing people physically, that he's utilizing matter and then applying it in some way, shape, or form? So like, for example, like healing a blind man, like he would put mud on his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like things like that. I believe that the way that he was healing was not a way that a demon could heal. Right, I believe that the fact that he was basically taking dust, specifically, he was taking something that he has dominion over, and then applying it as a healing matter. I think that demons can't do that. I believe.
What
that
about
demons,
the distance miracle?
What?
The ones where the distance ones where he heals them from far away, and they went
think,
home and they...
I think the fact that I think because of the fact that the things were distanced in the first place, that's more credence toward possibly being just a prayer from God, right? That's kind of like more evidence towards it actually just being something.
gotcha.
Like if you don't know the person, right, but you're able to just pray for them away, that's more of like a holy shit, he knows everything. Like he knows my son, but he didn't know but he never met him, but he healed my son, right? So he also knows who he is, but he doesn't know who he is technically, right? So then he thinks, oh, he's all knowing, he's God himself, right?
And what about because the miracle prior to this was the wedding of Cana, and we know like demons can manipulate matter, and so even the multiplying of bread and wine, sorry, the turning of water into wine. My mistake. Do you think that is a miracle that only God could have done?
I'm kind of agnostic on that one. I don't know.
Because that's the only sign that we have written down prior to the.
Yeah, but it's
dialogue.
quite obvious in the like really literally at the very end of the book of John though, it says that the amount of people that he healed and the amount of things he said could never be written in this book.
Right.
Right. I mean, like I'm sure that I almost said Saint Nicodemus because of the Hagiorite. Nicodemus in the New Testament. I don't think that the only event he knew about was Cana. Like I'm sure that there was a lot more that he knew about, and I believe that there's a general methodology that Jesus had with every single miracle to show a distinction from a demon who would attempt to basically be a magician, right, or a warlock or something like that.
And maybe why wouldn't a demon be able to pick up dirt and like put it on the eyes if he can manipulate matter?
I don't believe that they have dominion to turn something into to make something do something that it's not supposed to do, right? In the substance that it's part of.
So what about like?
So let me put it like this, right? The generalized substance of dirt, for example, does not have the properties that instantiate healing upon another body by default. Right. I don't believe that demons have the ability to metaphysically change, or maybe even, dare I say the word, transubstantiate that said thing into becoming something else to heal. Right. So like if we were to say that Jesus utilized the dirt and put it onto the man's eyes, that in a case you could say that they became like part of God's energies or something like that temporarily, but the substance remained what it was. The accidents remained. Right.
Gotcha. So the substance remained dirt, but the accidents turned into retinas and stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Something like that, right? Like it could have, like, there's. I'm getting real metaphysical.
That's fine. I'm not laughing at you.
No, I get it. I'm just becoming like real metaphysical with miracles as far as I can go with that mostly. But yeah, I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Bryce, is this where you tell him that EED is necessary for this too?
I mean, obviously, yeah, I hold that position in terms of like the way that miracles work, that essence energy distinction ties in with it. I mean, we believe it ties in with everything, but you know what I mean? We're just having a general conversation just about like how miracles can be verified versus whether or not you can show they're from God or not. We're talking about the criteria for that.
Yeah, just kind of the general. I don't know how much longer you wanted to have the conversation, but like, yeah, the healing of the blind or even the healing of the lame in the temple apparently would like be sufficient to convince even the most well-read Pharisees that he was from God. So my hope is
I don't know about that either though, because like I would say that Nicodemus saying it's very obvious that you're from God because no man could do these things or whatever, that also could be showing a faith. That also could simply just be showing faith in Nicodemus specifically. That he was way more convinced, because obviously, right, there was plenty of Pharisees that believed that all of these miracles were demons, right?
Yeah, wait. Actually, I don't believe that. Wait, here's my position on the Pharisees, or my epistemology regarding the Pharisees. It's very similar to you guys. The Pharisees, to me, especially the way they're written out, is that they were extremely conflicted, because he would say things that were contrary to the Old Testament, or what they thought was contrary to the Old Testament, but he was performing miracles that could only come from God. So they were super conflicted, like healing on the Sabbath and like healing people in general and like multiplying all this food and stuff like in the name of God. And they were super conflicted, which is my position on you guys, because eventually they ended up unaliving him because they didn't believe he was from God, right? Because of the claims he was making. Because of a subjective error about interpretations about prior revelation, which is what I believe about you guys.
What do you mean?
A subjective error about interpretations of prior revelation. So that's what you guys. That's why you guys believe that miracles, like vindictive miracles that vindicate Catholicism, are false, because they contradict the old church That's what that's the Pharisees' reasoning as why they unalive Jesus.
I mean, that's
No, we
that's
just
obviously
argue
like
against filioque over here.
No,
Exactly.
obviously
It's
that's just the
it's
argument.
interpretation of prior revelation, including filioque.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, like that. I mean, that would be kind of like a similar situation in which I would just have to say about you if that's what you're trying to say. I mean,
I'm not
obviously
making a
that's what I
claim.
believe.
I'm not making a claim about. I'm saying that there's this independent miracle that vindicates Catholicism. Whether or not I'm Catholic, I can look to this miracle and be like, this is probably from God.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys would say it's not from God because it contradicts prior revelation, which is what the Pharisees said about miracles. They said this doesn't prove you're from God because it seems like you're contradicting prior revelation, even though they were convinced that the things that he was doing, like Nicodemus said, were from God. It's like, how are you doing these things if you're from God or if you're not from God? Because you're saying things that are contrary to what we believe.
Yeah.
But you would say the same thing, like with our miracles.
You guys don't have any vindictive miracles.
We have plenty
You
of
guys don't even
miracles that
claim
are
to.
claimed
What?
from. What are you talking about?
No, you guys don't.
What?
have
Our
any-
stuff doesn't get freaking like in the papers as much as your guys's do. Maybe.
No. You guys don't even claim to have vindictive miracles. You guys claim to have miracles. I agree.
I'm sorry.
Miracles
Have you read it all into the Holy Fire or no?
Yeah, I have, but that's not vindictive. That's
What
not
do you mean that's
proving
not
Eastern
vindictive?
Orthodox.
The Eastern Orthodox Church, or the first off, that's an Orthodox church, by the way. The Sepulchre.
I'm aware. And
Okay,
I believe
cool.
That Our
So the
Lady of-
Eastern
Our Lady of
Orthodox
Zaytun
Church-
was at a Coptic church, and I believe
Okay,
in that.
yeah, but every single year on Easter, we have the ability to light the fire of Christ's tomb, right?
I'm not aware of the details of like how it's supernatural and stuff like that. But I'm aware that, and I can grant it wouldn't be vindictive though. So let's
Well,
say
okay,
yeah.
wait. Can I ask a question? Would miracles of the witness of the saints in the EO Church be vindictive?
The miracles of the
Like
saints.
if somebody has a vision of a very obvious Eastern Orthodox saint, would that be vindictive?
That's
Or
not a
like when
vindictive.
Saint Yaakov
That's
also
not-
Evia
that's
showed
not
up
vindictive?
in a picture 11 months after his death.
Like, if, for example,
guy
like if Saint Gregory, like if Saint Mark of Ephesus appeared to me, you wouldn't think that'd be evidence for Eastern Orthodoxy.
It might be evidence. It's not a vindictive miracle, though. Okay,
Vindic-
so here's what I mean. Here's what I mean by vindictive, right? There's a miracle that's being performed in the name of God to vindicate a certain religion.
Yeah.
I can give an example.
Showing the most anti-Latin saint to me in a vision would be vindictive then of Eastern Orthodoxy.
No, it wouldn't, because
Yeah,
what I'm
it
saying
would.
is that there's no. It's a vision is not a miracle performed in the name of God to vindicate certain doctrines. That's just a vision that God might be granting. To
okay,
you.
when
Was
Saint
Fatima a vision?
Paisios, wait. When Saint Paisios
No,
was
it
being
was
mocked
an
by,
apparition.
Hey, real quick. So when Saint Paisios was being mocked by Buddhist monks, and they said that our monks can, move boulders with their spiritual ability, and then they were trying to move a rock with their so-called spiritual ability, testing Saint Paisios, and Saint Paisios made the sign of the cross, and then the rock blew up. Is that not a vindictive miracle?
No, that I could grant that. That's not exclusive to Eastern Orthodoxy.
What? Saint Paisios is a exclusive Orthodox saint.
No, okay, but what he did and in the name of is not exclusive to Eastern Orthodoxy. So, okay, here's what I'm saying, because this is what I mean by vindictive, right? There are these three kids that say, here's the things we're saying, and Mary's saying to us. They're saying the Immaculate Conception, papacy is true, to consecrate yourself, and the Rosary is true, and all these things, and add a prayer to the Rosary. And to prove that what I'm saying is true, Mary's going to perform a miracle in front of 80,000 people to show everyone that what I'm saying is true. That's what I mean by vindictive, because that miracle of the Son is specifically to vindicate what the kids are saying. You guys don't have anything like that.
I mean, we literally believe, like I just said, that the Holy Fire is an example of that occurring every year for us.
But there's no miracle being performed in the name of God to specifically vindicate Eastern Orthodox doctrine. Nothing like that.
It happens inside of an Eastern Orthodox church on
doesn't mean anything.
on Eastern Pascha every Easter. In our
Doesn't even
calendar's
mean-
Pascha.
That doesn't vindicate specifically Eastern Orthodoxy. Because I believe a Marian apparition.
Wait, I got you. So when the Holy Sepulchre was taken over by the what's it called? I forgot the Armenians, and they tried lighting the holy fire and they couldn't. And then the Greek patriarch was on top of a hill looking down at the Holy Sepulchre, and then a lightning struck and the holy fire lit right in front of the Greek patriarch outside the Holy Sepulchre.
I can grant that. That's not gonna there's no
How?
It's
That's
another
literally
sign,
saying that
another
they're
sign.
false. That's
No, 'cause
literally
you
saying
guys don't
that
understand.
they're false. They can't light the
You keep cutting me
fire.
off.
Like what?
No, because it's a for thee and not for me situation that you're giving right now.
What? No,
This
no.
is
I'm
such
saying,
a very obvious miracle that applies specifically to the Eastern Orthodox Church. And then
I
you
believe it
say
applies.
that, okay, it
specifically.
applies.
It doesn't vindicate.
Okay,
it doesn't
wait.
vindicate it.
So if this miracle is something that convinces somebody of the power of Eastern Orthodoxy, do you think that that's wrong?
No, because it wouldn't
No?
be doing that. That's not its intention.
Dude, there are people definitely that freaking witness that every single year and go, wow, the power of Eastern Orthodoxy is crazy. That's what the whole point of the pilgrimage is, to go there in the first place and witness it every year.
Okay, but the object is not conversion. It's to show signs and wonder of a church that's close to the truth. I believe you guys are close to the truth.
Wow. It's not vindictive. It's not something that actually claims the truth. It's just showing that you're almost to the truth.
Wait, you guys?
Are you serious?
No, you guys don't claim. Listen, this isn't me saying this. You guys don't even claim vindictive miracles. You guys don't even claim them. You guys say
because we don't believe
say,
that miracles are an aspect of proving the truth.
Then Jesus performed miracles to prove himself for no reason.
The epistemology of the Pharisees was entirely different. And Jesus is a whole nother situation, considering the fact that he's literally the Son of God himself that was doing things.
Wait,
He denied a whole generation miracles. He literally denied a whole generation miracles. Like, what are we talking about? Because they didn't have faith.
How did he tell people that he was from God? Did he debate metaphysics with them, or did he perform signs and wonders that could only be from God?
He performed signs. Wait. First off, there were situations where he literally debated about his status from the Old Testament multiple times.
Not much.
Really,
not
John
much.
10. What's the context of John 10?
Yeah,
the
it's such a
all
small
of John
moment.
10.
Wait, that's a
small moment.
A small moment. I and the Father are one.
Okay.
John 8. What about John 8?
Wait, can I just respond, please, bro? Okay. He very rarely talks about scripture with the Pharisees, because the Pharisees, when they give him pushback, he immediately just walks away. He uses miracles as a way to prove himself. And then when they do try to debate him, like, where are you in your scripture? And he's like, here. And then they look for it, and then they try to give him pushback. He's like, I gave you where I was in scripture. Here are my signs and wonders. Believe in me. That's literally how Jesus operates.
John chapter 5 through John chapter 10 is literally just theological conversation with Pharisees. In most cases, it's literally just him saying, you don't understand what I'm telling you, or him saying, you have no idea what I mean by this. I am the one that is blah, 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 right? Like, in many different situations, all of chapter 5 through chapter 10 specifically is literally him conversating with the Pharisees on their knowledge. So that wasn't just a small piece of the New Testament. It was a huge part of his life.
He's preaching. No, I agree. Continuity is important.
He's preaching.
No, I agree.
Can preaching verify the truth?
No, I agree. Continuity is extremely important when vindicating prophecy, right? If you contradict prior prophets, you're obviously not from God. But the interpretation of those prophets could be in subjective error, and there are certain miracles that, okay, especially like how does God reach the people who don't have epistemic access to like theological conclusions? Like the people in rural Portugal in 1917 who could barely read and were lukewarm and Freemasons. How does he reach people like that?
You think that if they didn't have miracles, that they would be incapable of knowing God?
They were already lukewarm Catholics and Freemasons. I don't think they would have been able to like understand anything or be convinced of the faith without the miracle. I mean, that's why it happened.
Well, I mean, that's a claim. That's cool.
Okay, how do they reach people like that? How does God reach people like that?
I believe that could be through God changing their heart to convince them to actually look into history and show that lukewarm Freemasonry.
And so, how does he do that?
Is wrong. What?
How does he change their heart?
I mean, that could be simply just something as going to church and then partaking of the Eucharist and having a change of heart. I mean, that
for 80,000 people.
I mean, if you're talking about like just the specific situation, are you talking about like the Fatima situation specifically, or what?
Well, yeah, kind of.
I don't know the story of the Fatima situation, so I'm not going to make historical claims about what happened to them. I have no idea.
I just mentioned like in 1917, that's when the apparition happened, and like there's these Freemasons and lukewarm Catholics who are doing nothing with their lives in terms of like religious orders. And then so there's these three holy kids, and like Mary, they're claiming Mary appeared to them. And then there's this big vindictive miracle. That's how I claim God reaches and changes these people's hearts, because God wants Fatima to be a Catholic, or God wants Fatima to be a Catholic city. So then that's how he reaches them. You're saying he always just going to make them go to the Eucharist, but they're Freemasons and lukewarm Catholics. Why?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's required in order for them to do that. I mean, obviously the argument is to be seen that maybe that's something that could have occurred. But at the same time, like I said, I don't know the story of Fatima. I don't know the story about all of whether or how it occurred, or who actually saw it, who wrote about it, versus who just claims to be a part of the 80,000. Right? There's a lot that goes into stuff like that. So obviously, like I don't know the entire story of that. But what I will say is that utilizing miracles as an argument specifically against orthodoxy, I think, is a very dumb argument. It's incredibly dumb compared to pretty much every other thing I've ever heard for Roman Catholicism. Saying but Fatima is crazy.
Wait, no, but I just that I promise you, I know you're on like TikTok debates a lot and you listen to a lot of these debates. If you talk to convert Catholics, they're gonna tell you Eucharistic miracles. Because if you think miracles is a bad argument, you think Jesus made bad arguments. Like genuinely.
I think that the epistemology at the time of Jesus was not the same as the way that he instilled a church to maintain the safeguard of truth.
But the arguments you're making against me when it comes to miracles is the same arguments the Pharisees could have made. So you're saying you're literally
just because the Pharisees could have made an argument like that doesn't mean that I'm rebutting Jesus. They could have tried to make an argument like that, and guess what? Jesus would have had a response. That's the funny thing about it. If you're saying my argument was bad, if you're saying my argument was bad, then you're saying Jesus' argument was bad. No, you're not. Because that's presupposing that the Roman Catholic Church is the thing that can perform the proper miracles.
I'm not.
Yes, it is.
I'm not, bro.
Your personal argument specifically.
We're talking about the broader epistemological question about how to think about miracles.
Yeah,
right?
and I told you that it's different in the time of the prophets in terms of the fact that there was no established system, right? Yeah, especially at the time of Abraham, like we talked about, that there was no established system in order to verify the true prophet from a false prophet. So obviously, yes, an extremely large. What? I already said that.
How do you verify?
That a miracle would then be necessary if it was the only methodology.
So wait,
I don't believe.
Wait. Do you think the only way to establish Jesus' prophethood was miracles?
No. Where did you get that from what I said? I talked about Abraham.
Because he makes arguments regarding how to tell from a false prophet from a true prophet. He makes an argument. Do you remember the argument he makes?
No, go ahead.
The fruits test. You can know them by their fruits.
The fruits of the Spirit, right? The behavior.
No. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
How does a behavior entail a miracle?
Okay, no, he's saying when a prophet comes and preaches to you, and the signs come to pass, you can know they're from God by the fruits of. You can tell them by their fruits, so you can examine their behavior. It's why we know Muhammad was a false prophet, why Joseph Smith was a false prophet, because all the polygamy in the 9-year-olds. A random person can look at Muhammad's life and be like, yeah, that's probably not someone from God if you're consummating marriage with 9-year-olds, right? And you can look at Joseph Smith's polygamy and be like, that's probably not from God because he's doing some pretty bad stuff.
Okay,
right?
So then you believe then that if somebody follows all of the categories of the fruits of the Spirit, that means that they're a true prophet of God.
Well, if we can naturally reason to that, good behavior and like they're performing vindictive miracles in the name of God, that they are from God, yeah.
Okay, so in the name of God specifically, they're performing works in the name of God, and that they're okay. So what are all of the lists of things that can be done? Like in terms of the fruits, the specific fruits that categorize it. Like where I
off the top of my head, it's like honesty, patience, kindness, love, all this. Like off the top of my head, that's all I know so far.
All right, and all of these specific things, right? Would you say that somebody needs to be in a good spiritual state in order to be able to understand that somebody's following all of those categories of emotion correctly?
No, you don't need to.
Really?
In order to determine another person is having those types of emotions, then no, you don't. No.
So if somebody is a lukewarm person in themselves, would you say that they possibly could have the wrong understanding of what it means to be kind to somebody?
Yeah, they could possibly have it wrong.
Okay,
but
so then if somebody's being kind in the proper sense in which God intends, right, but this person is lukewarm, they may see that as being mean, right? And they'll be like, oh, this guy's not a prophet.
Yeah, but they would just be heavily mistaken, and they should know.
So people can be mistaken.
I'm arguing
of whether or not they're truly following the fruits of the Spirit. That's the thing that's in question.
But I'm arguing that they should know because the law is written on their hearts. So they know, they can tell by natural reason because the law is written on their hearts what is right and what is wrong, even without prior revelation. It's just natural reason.
Yeah. Again, like all of these statements specifically that refer to the law being written on your hearts and stuff like that, that is presupposing in terms of what is staying in the Bible that you actually are in a good spiritual state with God. Because obviously, yeah, because there's obviously people that believe that the law, like for example, like thou shalt not murder, is different for a lot of people, right? And they are mistaken.
What?
Yeah, there's people that have different definitions of what murder means, dude. Like in terms of like what they actually consider
if
murder
that's
to be.
all you mean, then fine. But like if we're just looking at the concept of murder in itself, like when you picture the action, like an unjustified unaliving, that would be wrong
Yeah,
for
the
anyone.
thing in question is whether or not the unaliving that person's doing is unjustified. That's the problem. Because somebody who's damaged spiritually is going to think they have more justification than somebody who doesn't. Than somebody who isn't spiritually damaged, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to interpret it that well, no, but they should be able to.
So you have to already be somebody who is either within faith in some degree, or somebody. What do you mean? Wait. You just admitted that if somebody is not within the truth, if they are not within the, or if they're in a bad spiritual state, would you say that anybody who is not within the church is not in a good spiritual state?
Yes,
God.
I would say they're not in a.
Okay, so then therefore, if the person, right, that's outside of the church, right, sees the fruits of the Spirit, they will misinterpret it, right? Because they're in a bad spiritual state due to mistaking it or conflating it. Okay.
Not all the time.
So then miracles then are subjective based off of the person?
No, it's okay. So I'm saying they should know the fruits and that they can tell them by their fruits.
Okay.
Otherwise, Jesus is making a bad argument.
Does God know that if he performs a miracle that somebody's going to respond to it positively or negatively?
Yeah, he knows that, yeah.
Okay, cool. Right? So if a miracle is not performed for you ever, let's say, is that because of the fact that you won't respond well to one?
No, not necessarily. It could be different reasons for why a miracle is not performed.
Okay. And so if a miracle is supposedly performed, is that God stating that there is literally no other methodology in this situation of, or for example, this actual world, right, that this person could have came to God other than me basically doing something special that outside of the natural world?
It could be.
It could be. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to clarify some things. Okay. So were these people in a bad spiritual state?
Yeah.
The Fatima people?
Yeah.
Okay. And so is it possible that then therefore this could have been something demonic?
No, not given all the data, no.
Not given all the data. Okay. Well, obviously that's an entirely different conversation. But I think you see where my argument leads.
How do you
No, I
data
don't. I
from that
genuinely
when
don't.
it is a
I actually was
supernatural
trying to
event,
follow.
Ecclesia?
Huh?
How do you get data from a supernatural event, right? That's extra normative, right? And not the normative means that show the truth of the church.
How do I get data from that? It's
Yes.
mostly just historical. What do you mean?
Right. So how do you get data from a story, right? What, there's 30,000, 50,000 people that seen it?
What do you
That's
think the Gospels were? They're narratives about something that
That's
happened
great.
in
I
history.
didn't ask that, right? Is miracles the normative way that shows a church to be true? Or is there another normative way in which the apostles and Christ gave to the apostles?
I don't think there is a normative way. It's a way that God can vindicate a specific church.
So I gotta be Coptic now, man. I'm so based.
I don't think there are any Coptic and vindictive miracles. And you just, I promise you, if you go to Zaytun, Mary doesn't speak. There's no way to vindicate Coptic Orthodoxy if you go to Zaytun. You can try.
I forgot. You guys have a standard.
Is it the people? Is it the people's at
God
Zaytun's
has a
fault
standard.
if they think it's vindicative to Coptic Orthodoxy and they remain there and never become
yeah,
Roman
that'd be-
Catholic? Is that the person's fault?
Yeah, I think it would
Okay,
be.
so God performed a supernatural action that he knew was going to convince a ton of people to not come to his church.
Well, he knew it was going to, but he didn't cause them to not come to the conclusion.
Okay, but God knew that this specific miracle, in their eyes, were going to vindicate Coptic Christianity, right? Because it did. It definitely did in terms of their perspective. I mean, holy crap, dude! The Oriental Orthodox Church blew up after Zaytun. So again, did God perform that?
Yeah, but we also believe in
Did
ecumenism.
God?
Who
Did
performed
God?
that,
Who
dude?
performed the apparition
Yes.
in
Bro,
Titanic?
just say he believes in ecumenism. Fuck.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So then God invited people to the Coptic Church. Amazing.
Yeah, we believe people can be saved in the Coptic Church, and at least the.
Oh shit! Why do you do that? Why?
Why'd I
Why
do
do you do that? You don't.
They're
it's
just
like the
invisible members of the Catholic
Did
Church.
he
the
not
arguments,
just
Okay,
right?
hold
The
on,
arguments.
No,
Yeah.
everybody chill. Okay, is
Like, good
the
Lord.
Coptic Church? Is there
Yes,
any
sir.
salvation outside of the church?
The Catholic Church? No. It's
Okay,
that's,
is
that
the
refers to
Coptic
visible
Church the
and
Catholic
invisible
Church?
members.
Is the Coptic Church the Catholic Church?
People in the Coptic Church could be.
That's
part
not
of
what
the
he asked you.
No, they're not absolutely identical. I think you're equivocating on the term church here.
Wait. So
I don't know why we're laughing.
okay, wait.
That's
So
a-
can so
it's
is
lame.
it okay? So
I'm
is it
actually interested in
necessary?
epistemological
Invisible and
necessary-
visible church theology.
In order to like
as
so
a
for
Catholic is
example,
crazy.
do you agree, like for example, with like documentation like Dictatus Papae, that it states that you have to be somebody who affirms that the pontiff is supreme in order to actually be saved, right? Or like the Council of
No.
Florence, the Decrees of Florence.
No, you don't have to affirm like in your mind that the pontiff is supreme in order to be saved.
It just has to be implicit, or like, what do you mean, not in your mind?
Yeah, it would have to be something implicit. Like
So I
virtually
could
contained
be
in
saved right now, right now, like
Of course
within
you
your
could
view.
be saved. You want me to say it's logically impossible?
No.
For Bryce
I'm
J to
saying
be saved?
I'm saying that in your view right now, I could be in good standing with God. I just don't know it.
Yeah, that's obviously possible. Yes.
I'm talking about from your view, being a Roman Catholic, that you think that it's possible that I'm actually in a great state with. I'm actually in a great spiritual state with God, even
You're in
though
a-
that
you're
I
in a much-
verbatimly disregard the filioque. Even though
Like
that I
poo-poo.
completely disregard papal supremacy, there's still a chance though that he might actually just be like cool with me though. It might
It's
not
fine,
matter.
bro.
And if I do get let in because of this, is that
It just
thing God
depends on
allowing doctrine? So it's they're no longer dogma to your church, right?
It just depends. Again, I think you're equivocating on the term church. It just depends on how theologically deficient your theology is.
You think he's theologically deficient, dude?
Theologically,
Your church
think- yeah,
claims
of course, I
our
think the Eastern
sacraments are
Orthodox Church
valid,
has
Ecclesia,
deficient
so
theology.
technically
No, I'm
we're
not.
good
Hold on.
by your standard.
Hold on, really quick. So, do you think Bryce has no knowledge and understanding of what the filioque is?
Do you think that's what theologically
I'm
deficient
asked,
means?
dude. That's all I'm asking.
what does it
asking
mean
you a
to be?
simple question.
What is theologically deficient then? What does that mean?
I
what
just
does that
mean
mean?
you have incorrect doctrines that you affirm.
Yeah, but he affirms it with full knowledge of what it is.
Yeah, I was about to say like what if I
You don't know.
if I believe that I have many different argumentations, dude. It's like the invincible ignorance shit, dude. It's like the freaking.
No, I don't
people
think
that-
you're invincibly ignorant. You
You
definitely have access to like internet and stuff like that.
Okay,
Oh
so Saint Mark of Ephesus didn't.
Have access to internet? Yeah, he didn't.
Okay, cool. So like it's possible that Saint Mark of Ephesus is sitting in heaven with Aquinas right now and Bessarion.
Who knows? I don't know. What you want me to make the
No,
claims about
because
who's in heaven and
yeah,
who's not?
because there's a thing though. Your church declared him anathema, and then
Yeah,
he died
I believe-
outside of communion with the church, right? So you can
church
have
also
epistemic
declared-
certitude that person's in hell. That's
Our
kind of
church
the whole
also
point.
we know
declared-
Judas is in
Wait,
hell.
our church also declared other people that we consider saints now anathema, like Saint Joan of Arc, right? And we still consider her a saint. This is not an issue with us.
Wait, what?
We believe we can wrongly declare anathema to people, and then
Wrongly?
like, yes, like excommunication.
So it's possible that Florence is wrong.
Sorry.
no, not within my system. No.
Okay,
So-
not within your system. So it's not possible that Saint Mark of Ephesus was correct, right?
No, I'm talking about disposing specific people like Saint Mark of Ephesus. I don't think it's possible Saint Mark of Ephesus was correct in what he was teaching, but I'm saying it's possible he could have been saved. Like what?
Through,
Just because he's
from what?
excommunicated doesn't mean- doesn't
was he
mean
still
he's not
spiritually Catholic then, or like,
If-
like,
okay,
what
so
would
the-
be the situation that he's
Like
spiritually
maybe God
ascends to
illuminates
Rome?
himself to Saint Mark of Ephesus, bro. I don't know. He's not a saint, but well, you guys think he's a saint?
Off of, he is a saint. Rose in
Sure.
heaven.
Sure.
Sure.
I don't want to
Bruh.
argue sainthood.
So you believe our sacraments are valid. So even by your standard, right, we
Illicit.
have salvation.
We're taking
Regardless.
Yeah, they believe that.
So
they
you guys
believe
are in
that
a
they
much
aren't.
better. Wait, you
Nah,
guys are
I
in
ain't
a
gonna lie,
much better.
Val.
You guys are in a
The
much better
sacrament.
spiritual standing than like
Than the
Protestants.
SSPX? Are we in better?
No, they would honestly be in a better spiritual standing.
What? No, they wouldn't.
Does the SSPX masses have valid Eucharist still, even though that they're excommunicated?
It's illicit.
Okay, cool. Wait. Is it valid?
No, it's illicit. So valid means you're in full communion. Illicit means it's
is
like
Christ in their Eucharist? Yes or no?
Yes.
We were
Yes.
told that
Ecclesia,
our Eucharist was valid. We were told that.
Valid doesn't mean that you're in communion. Valid just means that like you recognize
it's
that
a real
sacrament.
Eucharist. That it's a real sacrament.
Then if I'm mistaken,
no, because that's not what they would hold to. They they hold their sacramentology.
I've heard different positions.
They're very Augustinian with their sacramentology. What it just means that like the form is correct, but there is no like grace. Like there's a cutoff.
No, is Christ? Do they believe that Christ is in our Eucharist? Yes or no?
Christ is in the SSPX, bro. Yes. What?
Not in the Orthodox.
I've heard some differing opinions.
Is Christ in the Eastern Orthodox Church? Or?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna stay with Christ.
I mean,
I'll be right back.
Where are you going?
I gotta go.
It looks like he's going to take the Eucharist.
But if Christ is in this church, I'm gonna stay in this church. It's epic.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't think his bishop would be trying so hard to come back into communion with us if he didn't see Christ in our church. But whatever.
We do see Christ in your church. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
and you guys have valid, and you guys have succession.
I've heard declarative language, but I have to find this quote. But like, there's multiple, even just bishops in the Catholic Church, even cardinals, that like affirm the validity of the sacraments of the Orthodox Church, like that say that Christ is in the Eucharist. Like, I don't think that that's crazy to say. I think that they say that I think because of our standing, right? If you were to go up to the chalice, right, you wouldn't be taking it illicitly, right?
You mean like in an EO church?
Yeah.
No, it still would be licit.
It would be licit?
Yeah.
You all can take communion according to your all's decrees within our church, right?
No. You guys are in schism. Or according to our decrees, you guys.
We're not in schism. You all.
Wait, I just corrected myself because I don't want to get into that. I just, according to our decrees, which is the context of what you said.
If you step to our chalice, would you be consuming Christ? Yes or no?
Yeah, just illicitly.
Okay, but you would be consuming Christ, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'm just asking. I just wanted to know because apparently, I don't know. I haven't heard this position, but I've never heard this. But what Basil was saying, I've heard. I've talked to many Catholics, and I've never heard that position, Basil. Like,
no. I mean, it's honestly like it's just true. Like we can say that the Catholic Church has valid sacraments that have no there's a cutoff of grace.
I mean,
think about it. No. Huh? What?
I don't think they have valid sacraments.
You said it is Christ. It's a valid sacrament. You said it's true.
No, and bruh, don't straw man me because I literally just explained it.
It's not. You don't have as true.
Hey, bruh. No, that's not what I said. I define valid as a form and recognition that it is a sacrament. What would make that sacrament have Christ is that if that sacrament has grace, I don't think you guys have grace.
So therefore,
Anglicans have
they
a
don't
valid.
have
Wait,
Christ.
do Anglicans have a valid Eucharist?
No.
They have a valid Eucharist, but they don't have grace.
Well,
what are you laughing about? I just defined what it means.
Oh my god! Okay, never mind. So
Anglicans do recognize
Eucharistic theology have valid Eucharist.
When you say a valid Eucharist, you're saying that they uphold to sacramentology of
yes.
Eucharist.
I'm saying they're actually doing.
He's not saying that Christ is present.
Anglicans don't consecrate the Eucharist, bro.
Well, regardless of that, he's not. I don't think he's saying that the grace is present within the Eucharist.
And besides,
I know what he's saying.
And if the Anglicans don't hold to consecration or in that understanding of sacramentology, then no, they wouldn't be a valid Eucharist. It wouldn't even be valid.
He just says as long as you recognize it's the body and blood of Christ, it's valid.
That's an act, dude. That is not. I think that's like. I don't. Think
I wasn't here for this. I was gone. So what's the
no, Bryce. I said what makes a valid Eucharist is form and recognition. Not
Yeah.
that valid equals graceful. That's where like people just start being stupid. It's just because I say
As
valid
long as
doesn't
you-
mean
Yeah,
graceful.
but like, would you say that Basil? Would you say that consecration is something that is necessity of a form?
Yeah, that's why I said form.
Okay, so if the Anglicans don't like do an actual consecration, then they wouldn't have a valid Eucharist, right?
I thought they do it actually. Like I thought they did an actual consecration.
They
I don't-
don't.
yeah.
They don't believe in. They don't believe in the literal body the way we do.
But I mean, I wouldn't
I
be
don't even
in.
know how you guys believe in it.
Huh? What did you say?
I don't even. You guys don't even know how you guys believe in the literal body. It's just like
What are you
mystery.
What are you talking about?
Just shut the fuck
What are you talking
You guys
about?
don't
We
know
affirm
how-
We affirm the
trans
generalization.
sub, bro.
Yeah, we affirm.
Oh, you guys
trans
affirm
sub.
trans sub. Okay, good.
Yes, bro. Stop being dumb. Like this is
That's-
really
that's
dumb.
Latin
You
terminology,
obviously
bro.
don't.
All of
No,
that
it's
is Latin. by
not.
the way.
No, it's not,
Trans
bro. No.
Substance and accidents? Oh, okay.
Bro, that's Aristotelian, goofball. Like, yo, you're dumb, bro.
No, trans sub is Latin.
Yo, you're
Yes.
actually so
No.
slow,
Basil
bro.
will never-
You're so
Trans
slow,
sub is
bro.
Latin, bro.
Bryce and
You're
Basil will
so
never live
slow,
up
bro.
to
Yeah, obviously
Accusation.
obviously the word transubstantiation, right, is Latin. But the
obviously.
understanding of accidents and substances, that's from Aristotle. You know that.
No,
It's
that's
substance,
okay.
it's
That's not Latin,
bro.
obviously.
Yeah, he's not referring. He's referring to like
All right.
what the word means.
We're gonna finally move on because like this is
Oh
this
my
is-
gosh,
Come on,
bro.
Bryce.
people still waiting.
I haven't heard like a disagreement, bro.
What do you mean I haven't heard a disagreement?
Well, I haven't heard a good reason to disagree with my plan.
With
the
what you're
miracle
saying?
thing?
Hey,
Not
bro,
miracle
the
shit.
filioque-
A good
hey,
reason.
Hey, I got this, bro. The filioque ain't necessary, therefore you're false, bro.
How many
Now what?
principles are there?
Anyway.
Now what?
All right. Anyway, I don't. We weren't talking about that. You guys being goobies.
Anyways.
Okay, I appreciate. Wait, like all in all, though, Bryce, I appreciate you letting me come up, bro.
Yeah,
God bless me.
sure thing, man. Miracle
Wow.
stuff, man. I just kind of just don't. Hey, Basil. Boot. That was easy.
Do you think? Basil? Do you? Okay, never mind. He's gone. Hello.
Yo.
Hear me? Yeah. I kind of wanted to bring up an interesting topic. I know it's like a little, it's talked about a lot. I kind of want to talk about the Latin captivity. I actually have an interesting view on it.
Okay.
You
This
know,
is
I
gonna-
don't
This
really.
is gonna get my ass canceled by one side. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to be a balance, so I don't
Jesus
think
Christ.
that.
I am trying to be like that too, but this type of conversation though, people are very zealous on both sides. So it's just
Oh,
it's
yeah.
trying to be the balancing one makes it seem like you're subverting on both sides most of the time. That's awesome.
Trust me, dude. It's all over. Yeah, it's how it is on Twitter.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I think about it after you do.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, I was actually wanted you to. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't-
what I think is. Oh, go ahead, man. What is it?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking. No, I don't.
Oh,
I
no.
don't believe that there was a full-fledged Latin captivity the way that a lot of people do. The main argument that I have for that is because people like that Saint Gennadius actually is one of the main examples of this prior to that being a problem, right? Because the argumentation for Latin captivity, especially in the West, like the Western Rokor or Russian Church in general, takes place between the 16th to the 19th century. That is obviously after St. Gennadius. St. Gennadius used extremely scholastic terminology in all of his argumentation, and even believed that the Aristotelian understanding and the Platonic understanding of different concepts was part of the tradition. It was the argumentation he used in his book on logic, on the logic of Aristotle. And he basically said that this is something that's been used in the tradition forever. And then he even claims as well that St. Gregory Palamas actually was kind of an anomaly compared to a lot of people, because St. Gregory Palamas was a mystic. He was somebody who came from the hesychastic tradition that didn't really study the scholastic method at all. So the words that he utilized for philosophy was not the same as the way that a lot of other of the people before him did that. That was St. Gennadius's argument. I believe that like St. Photius, for example, actually, and St. Mark of Ephesus, right, like those guys that a lot of people would say are the most zealous Eastern people that ever existed, were actually some of the most scholastic people that existed. If you look at like St. Mark of Ephesus, the Latins, the syllogistic chapters against the Latins, every philosophical argument that he makes against the Filioque is solidly Aristotelian conclusion. It's literally like, for example, the simple act, simple agent methodology. That's something from Aristotle, where he believes that basically the Holy Spirit has to be composite in the filioque way if you follow the Aristotelian method. And he held to these things strictly. That's showing that like it's not possible in the tradition, and he claimed it as part of the tradition. So that's my position. I believe it's always been a part of our system. I believe that it grew after the 1300s when the Latins started speaking more with the East, and they started learning about it more and started like utilizing it in their argumentation. But I don't believe that there was a Latin captivity the way that a lot of people would say there was.
Wow, that's a fair take. I don't know. I was more, so I'll start off. I was more on the Latinizer side, like more extreme. Then I kind of toned it down a little bit.
Good for you.
Yeah, milder.
I was like the other way.
Oh, really?
Like the opposite of that. Yeah, I kind of like used to be like super, like I used to like affirm like a major real distinction between S's and energies. You know, I used to be like wild. Like I used to be like so far on that side that it was pretty much impossible to determine what I actually believed. And then I toned all that down and started actually like refining what I believed in.
Oh,
but yeah, I get you, man.
Wow.
So what I will say though is like most of theology, we're gonna start off the bat from the Latin captivity was correct. Like I'm not denying that original guilt, formal sanction, whatever it may be, right? What I have a problem with, what I notice on both sides is kind of like they take the extremes. Like if you look at like the neo-patristics or like Dyer or any of those guys, they kind of hyper fixate on like modern academia more than like what the fathers actually taught. And then like you go to the other Latinizer side and it's like some of them are like taking weird positions that we don't hold to. Yeah. Like for example, like I know a couple guys that actually hold Protestant views on like justification or like concupiscence.
Yeah. Or like holding more tulip, like a lot more tulipy stuff than you probably should be. Right? Like on the Calvinist side and whatnot.
It's so Libby. I don't know why.
Yeah, so the problem, there are two different problems, right? One is relying too much on modern scholarship to provide you with a good exegesis of the fathers. That's the first side. And then the second side is relying too much on your own opinions to come to the conclusion of harmonization in people that may not be harmonizing as much as you think. Like, for example, like there is a degree in which that I disagree with the Latinizers, which I say the Latinizers, but I can't
say a degree.
I can't exactly like name specific people, if that makes sense, but I've seen tweets.
I know who they are. Yeah, I know they are.
Right? Like so for example, something I disagree with them about, focusing everything you talk about on that exact topic
is so gay. What they do.
All right,
I know exactly who you're talking about, but don't worry.
You can't just use that as an insult on TikTok, bro. It's gonna get you banned. It's gonna get me banned. Anyway, I'll bring you back up in a minute. Because I'm in the middle of this thought. So when it comes to that side, I do believe that the zealotry pushes people away from orthodoxy. I do genuinely believe that this extreme zealotry on the Western supportive side pushes people away from orthodoxy pretty bad, due to the fact that most of the people that are on the other side, right, the more East supremacy mindset, I guess I'll call it, right, is that they're not the ones, right, when they're trying to tell people to go to church, right, they're just saying, just go to church and go learn from your priest. And most of the time, that's what they're saying. Yeah. A lot of the people that are on the Western supportive side normally try to convince you with their exegesis of the patristics.
Yeah.
Right? Which, if you're not somebody who is I hate this word because it's kind of subjective, but like verified scholar.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
Like it depends, right? Because like there's a bunch of people that are considered verified scholars, but I think Dr. Joshua Sijuwati is a heretic. So
you think he is?
Yeah, 100%, dude. He's Apollinarian. He's Apollinarian. Well, he's Apollinarian. He's a semi-Arian. Like, dude, he believes that God has done something called omnisubjectivity, where basically prior to eternity, that the knowledge that he has of us is from the first person perspective.
Wait, isn't that like kind of like an open theist type of thing? Or
because think of it like this. If God, right, if God knew the pains of being a man from all eternity, the point of incarnation is literally useless. From the first person.
That's insane.
Right?
What is
There's no
what
point.
is yeah? I don't get the what is like Jay Dyer promote him if he's like
I don't think Jay promotes him. I don't think Jay promotes Dr. Joshua Sidgewadi.
or Branson. He promotes Branson.
Branson's just really analytical, and I believe that there is a sense in which you can convert his language into being patristic, but Dr. Joshua Sidgewadi goes way too far. The reason why I say that is because I personally, to this day, love Dr. Bo Branson's LPT dissertation. I think it's one of the best argumentations against the LPT that exists. But at the same time, there's some things that I obviously disagree with, but I don't think he's like a heretic. I think that Dr. Joshua Sidgewadi takes it way too far because he's trying to be unique. And I think he goes way too far and just starts talking about a bunch of stuff in the analytical scene that literally do not exist in the Orthodox Church. Like, for example, like saying that the way that he interprets the creed is weird, right? When it says there is only one God the Father and the one Lord Jesus Christ and Lord and Giver of Life, Holy Spirit. He translates, or he interprets God as only referring to the Father in the creed. But when it says that the Holy Spirit is the Lord and Giver of life, do you not believe the Father is that too?
That's just Origenism, isn't it? Like some subordinates.
It's weird, and so like that. But that's the whole point of like why people think that Dr. Sidgewadi's a problem, because the way that he interprets the creed causes subordinationalism. Because then you actually start to ask about the titles that are applied to each person in the creed, like when it says, "And in one Lord Jesus Christ." Is the Father not the Lord?
That you know who Jonathan Hill is?
Yeah.
He actually makes that point in the creed, like
and that part I disagree with,
point.
and that part I agree with Jonathan Hill on. Now, granted, like I don't agree with Jonathan Hill on everything. I think that he could be a bit extreme in a lot of cases. Like he says that God doesn't even have actual formalities. I thought that was absolutely batshit insane to say.
Yeah, that's maybe he changed. I don't think he.
I hope he changed that because he's just an anomalist at that point. I don't know if he actually says that anymore. But we had an argument on Twitter where he literally said God does not truly have any formalities, and I like lost my shit on him on Twitter. But like, yeah. Anyway, original topic. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's okay. No, because here's the thing, like. Saint Seraphim, if you read him, he actually is a very balanced, like Saint Seraphim Rose. Of course, you know him. He makes a very balanced take. Like he says that like not everything that is Latin or Western, quote unquote, is bad. Like that's just the wrong idea. But he also makes the point that there is a lifeless spirit that influenced in Latin captivity. Like a lot of them like didn't even know of hesychasm. Like Saint Peter Mogia, he was a holy saint. He actually had to kind of do like reforms in the Kiev school because a lot of them weren't really commemorating Polymaths as they normally should, right? But like Saint Seraphim says that like scholasticism, like if it's used wrongly, is lifeless. It's not actually. We can't really know God in a positive sense, if that makes sense. It's more a negation, of course, right?
73 super chatted $5. What is the best argument against neoclassical theists? For example, Atari commitments and conceptions of God.
I'm going to be 100% real with you, bro. Thank you very much for the $5, by the way. You can't collapse someone's own worldview into its foundation. So, like, if the foundation for, like, the authorities, and this is something that people will disagree with me on, but I don't care. I'll say it out loud. All right? If you're arguing with a theist that it holds to a neoclassical position, showing that they fall into classical theistic collapses does not refute their position. So don't focus on trying to actually collapse them into classical theistic. Like, for example, authorities sometimes will admit that God can change, right? So getting them to admit that God can change is not an argument against their position. Does that make sense? There are argumentations that you can make against why, like, for example, if God can change, then it's not a maximally great being. But I'm saying don't think that because if you hold to a classical theistic position, like, for example, standard Trinitarian theology, right, that somehow you can basically just laugh at them admitting neoclassical positions, because it's not actually going to refute their position. It's basically it's on the same level as a Muslim coming up on my life and then saying, do you think God can sleep? And I say yes, and then he just laughs and leaves. Did he refute me? No, he didn't refute me. But he thinks my position is so absurd that he won't address it. So don't attack the stuff that you think is specifically absurd in terms of like metaphysics if you hold a different metaphysical paradigm. Boom. That's all I'm saying. I would stick with continuity issues and historical problems with Islam. I think that arguing with their metaphysics is just not even worth your time. It's really not, because they can literally just accept freaking anything, dude. Like, they accept so many things metaphysically most of the time that arguing with them like on the metaphysics level is completely useless. Anyway, keep going, William. Thank you for the $5.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. And like, here's the thing. I think that there were some wrongs in Latin captivity, like the Immaculate Conception. That was like a popular one. I don't think it's heresy. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's very unnecessary. Like Saint Peter Mogia, Saint Dimitri Rostov,
Yeah.
right? Those guys, they did
Dimitri Stanuloi? Or
no.
Oh, right.
I forgot his name. It was Dimitri something. Started with an R is last. Yeah, but yeah, I don't think it's correct, obviously, and I think there was like a certain.
Oh, Rostov. Okay. You grouping Muslims, some of us hold divine simplicity. If you hold to divine simplicity in the classical theistic sense, then I believe that basically you could attempt to ask some questions about God and attempt to create things like modal collapse then. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was just getting my point. There were, Saint Seraphim, like all those people who criticize Latin captivity, they have a point. Like there was, like if you read like how do you pronounce his name? Prokovich. Yeah. He literally sounds like a Lutheran. Like he literally was reading from Lutheran textbooks.
Or are you talking about Justin Popovich?
No, not Justin Popovich.
Prokopovich.
Theophan Prokopovich. Yeah.
Okay.
He, like, if you read him, he literally just sounds like a Protestant. And I think like that what he wrote, a lot of stuff is damaging to the church. I don't think that's good Latinizing. What is actual Latinizing is basically just following what the church teaches, not trying to be this edgy type of, I'm like a Eastern Orthodox Roman Catholic type dude. No, just following what the dogma teaches, not going to neo-patristic sources, but not also going into the other extreme. I think that's a fair balance. Would you say?
Yeah. Would you say, so like, for example, with your perspective, would you say that St. Gennadios is a Latinizer? Have you read him at all?
I haven't read much from him, no. Well, most of his stuff isn't in English, no, but I intend to, yeah.
He does have multiple, like if you read his work on essence and energies, for example. Like, he's the one that, technically speaking, invented the definition, formal actual distinction in the essence energies.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, even, funny enough, even Romanides, he actually was against the Neo-Apollo position. He actually supported St. Gennadius' view. Like, he wasn't even against it. That's the funny thing. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Even though, like, most people would consider Father Romanides to be, like, the most modernist.
He gets too much hate. Like, I don't think... Okay,
I've read, like, almost everything that he has. Like, there is a sense in which that, like, I enjoyed reading him, right? Like, I used to be a big supporter, right, of his works. But after looking kind of, like, historically at, like, the first millennia, the way that he sees the West in the first millennia, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think that he goes way too hard. Way too hard. Like when he says like Augustine invented like relations of opposition or some shit, or like says something like Augustine invented original guilt or something like that. It's just kind of like, wait, what do you? Like, bro, it's like if you define guilt, if you define original sin, right? You can read against Julian and know that a lot of the conclusions that come through are simply just not what was articulated in Romanides, like in the book, The Ancestral Sin.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And like that matters to me a lot. Is that like all it took, and no offense obviously to him, I know that he read a ton of Augustine in his life. But I only had to read one work of Augustine to be like, that's not at all what he meant. Like, you just read against Julian, and you're like, oh, I mean, that's fine. Because he fully explicates original sin. He fully explicates the guilt. He fully explicates all this kind of stuff. And then you read it, and then I was like, oh, I don't have an issue with this. That was the thing that slowly started to kind of, like, bend me over to, like, the other side of like this whole like neo-patristic to like just relying on the patristics problem. Because after I had read like against Julian, I was kind of like reading it. I was like, this is not contradictory to what I think the fathers teach, like at all.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just, I don't know. That
No,
was
I think
the
you have a
first
good
thing
point.
that started to dude, John Marcos, you're crazy, bro.
Here's the thing. The reason why I say he gets so much hate is like, yeah, he got things wrong, evolution, like stuff like that.
The
But at the end
non-infallibility
of
of the Bible.
Of course, yeah.
The noose
But-
juice being in your spine. That was
Well, I've heard some elders talk about that, but
I don't know,
my friend was talking about it. But
dude, I don't know.
but here's the thing. The reason why like I'm not too hateful against him is like near the end of his life he would pray a lot. He would go to monasteries, he would pray, wake up in the middle of the night. He would actually like try and like, partake of the church. So I think that there is a possibility that he is saved, yeah, sure, we don't know. But I think that like both sides, like there's some that say like, yo, he should be canonized. Like, no, like he's obviously made errors. But like we shouldn't.
I think
that
though that like the way that he understands original sin, though, I do genuinely think though that it's just not. It shouldn't be taught to the common man. I think that he's more on the spec. I think he's on the speculative side. Not saying that like he's just a pure, full-fledged heretic with full intention of being against God, right?
Of course, yeah.
But I think that he was mistaken in this view
For sure.
of the way that he viewed. I think that it does entail some form of Pelagianism to a degree, and that's just kind of how I've been for a while now. And it's not that I don't think he's literally like, I don't think that he is a like an intentional like heretic or something like that. I don't think he's somebody that like actively went against the quote unquote church because he thought that the church that he was teaching about agreed with everything he was saying, and he may have thought that up until his death. Right, because not a ton of people were addressing this stuff during his time. It was kind of like a revived conversation. Let's revive the conversation of Augustine. Right? Like there wasn't a ton of other people other than him that brought him up around that time, like verbatimly. So he didn't have like a ton of people, Obviously there was a couple people that disagreed with him, a couple people that agreed with him, blah, blah, blah. But like in his specific time, there wasn't a ton of like responses of like, I think Romanides is a heretic, and then like the patriarch's like, we need to hold a council on his understanding. Like none of this happened because most people weren't studying this topic. They just weren't.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of why I think he went kind of uncontested for a long time. But it doesn't mean he's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Origin. He's not Origin. I'm not saying Father John Romanides is Origin. But I'm saying that the situation is similar.
No.
The situation is similar in terms of the fact that Origin, right, went uncontested in his own timeline, right, in his own time, because of the fact that most people did not know what the hell he was talking about.
I'd say the church certainly doesn't accept his views on original sin. Like obviously it's going to support St. Augustine's views. But I think like when we get into like the whole, because this kind of gets into like the whole unbaptized infants thing, I think it's a lot more nuanced. Like no one's denying that like infants are going to go like automatically to heaven if they're like, they're going to go to heaven if they're like unbaptized, because I mean, this is clear, but like, we don't have an infallible certitude. We have moral certitude for sure, but we don't really know how God's going to judge them.
Would you say we have a normative certitude?
Of course, yes, but I'm talking about the final judgment because there's different views. Like there's Augustinians who believe that they will suffer hellfire. There's like, the normal view, which you have to hold to, is that they have a pain of loss, which I hold to. But I think that like, if you read some of the saints, they're particularly like Saint Isidore, Seville, or like Saint Augustine. It kind of implies that they suffer hellfire, and I don't think that's kind of.
Well, I mean, like Augustine also kind of makes that clear, hilariously enough, and against Julian, what it means to suffer from hellfire. In the view of like an unbaptized infant, for example, is simply to just not be able to participate in the kingdom. That doesn't necessarily entail that then therefore they're actually being tortured in the sense of the fire like the wicked would, right? Because you know how like a lot of people, most of the saints agree that like the severity of your punishment in hell is based off of how wicked you were.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and so like an unbaptized infant, right? Like they're not wicked.
Well,
So
here's the thing.
like that's kind
Like,
of like
no,
the whole thing is like they like if they were to be receiving some form of punishment, it would be literally the definition of punishment simpliciter. Not having
yeah, no,
something.
I get you, but that's just pain of loss in itself. Like if you read like Saint Fulgentius, who's an indirect disciple, he actually believes they'll burn in hell, to the lowest degree. I'll grant you that. But yeah,
But
I
you
just
have to
don't
remember
really
though as
see
well
that
as I mean, if you believe in like the harmonization of the fathers, the definition of burning in hell is simply just experiencing God's energy when everyone returns to the Creator in the wrong way to a degree. Right. So like
Sure,
for
yeah.
example, like you know the example that's used most of the time of the iron being up in fire and
Oh yeah, the
it's
iron. Yeah,
hardened,
right. Yeah.
right, and then the
Hmm.
wood is burned up, right? Like technically speaking, unbaptized infants would be in the category of being wood, but they wouldn't necessarily be immediately burned up to the category of basically seizing or falling completely into something else. Right, like they would be spared insofar as the fact that they are not as wicked as the ones that are wood, to a degree, right? They would
Yeah, I would
granted
agree with that.
that I wouldn't say that they become iron, but I would also not say that I would say that they're kind of like the ground between wood and iron, just the way that the fathers talk about it. So burning up in hell can mean, technically speaking, right? If you're talking about hell just being the negative response to God being fire, God's energy, right in the end. Technically speaking, of course, that is literally anybody who's not baptized will suffer from that thing. But everybody experiences God as a fire, literally everyone.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I don't disagree with the exclusion. I think. Well, do you hold to like a limbo view? Because I kind of do. I think that's kind of important.
I don't know. I'm kind of agnostic on that stuff, dude, because like when it comes to
Me
like
too.
limbo, right? Like it always comes. The question always arises of, is it a different place metaphysically than Abraham's bosom?
Conceptually, it's still in hell, though.
Yeah,
It's like still going to be in Hades.
but that's why that's why I say that it's kind of hard to say yes or no, because it depends on the person that you answer to that. If you say, 1 second. Maximos for 5 Australian, thank you very much. He says, Bryce, what happened to Dwight? Is he still Orthodox? He was one of the OG Latinizers last time he was promoting Nazi. Oh, I can't say that. Dude, I didn't read that correctly. Oh my gosh. Schmatzi, I'm so banned. I'm actually so banned. I cannot believe I just said that on live. We love Israel. Sorry. Unlucky. I'm getting banned now. Yeah, he's not I don't know. I have no idea where he is. I haven't spoke to him since I banned him from my server a long time ago. Dude, Maximo's got me banned. I'm screwed. Stream is getting taken down. It probably is. Yeah, I can't believe I just said that. F1? What does F1 mean? We love TikTok shop. We love Israel. He even spelled it in a way so you didn't say it. That's not true. It says it exactly, though. If you say it, bro. All right, never mind. Yeah, I might get banned. Anyway, keep going. Yeah, no, I think it's hard to. I think it's hard to say, because if you say it in the sense of different place metaphysically, I would say no. If you say it's not, that it's the same place as Hades, sure. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with saying that these people, like for example, like limbo can literally just be identified as the temporary waiting place of that's identified in the Confession of Dositheus, where it says that there are some people that are sent into Hades to suffer from their punishments, but they know that they'll get out. Right? Mm-hmm. That, I mean, that's kind of what that is in a way, in my opinion.
So, yeah. So, because there's like differing views. Like if you read, like even like people like Thomas, like they would just affirm there's natural beatitude. But then there's others who don't. That's the question. Like, do they experience full-on suffering, like from the exclusion, or is it like a natural bliss?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to know, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that's like when you get that deep into like the level of suffering that occurs, I think that's like way transcendent of our minds. Like, I mean, try to even just like comprehend like what a wicked person would suffer. I mean, it's like I don't even think our minds could hold the knowledge of it.
Because doesn't Saint Gregory of Nyssa, doesn't he say they'll partake in some sense of glory in God, like it is like in some way?
Yeah, Saint Gregory of Nyssa actually says that like people like unbaptized infants are actually the flowers planted outside the kingdom. So that kind of necessitates in some way, shape, or form that they're spared, but not enough for them to actually be partakers of the divine nature.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that.
I would say that is what the punishment that would happen to them is, that they will not partake in the divine nature. In the sense that would be positive. But granted, it would be the most simple understanding of negative, which would simply just be the proposition that they don't have it. And that knowledge of not having it may be the only form of suffering that may occur to them. That's my position on that.
I don't know where this is. I think it was from St. Paisios. There was like some sort of dream someone had that they're in like they're in a playground outside of, they're like barred from the gates kind of thing. Like I think in my mind it's like a pleasant place, but it's not. Yeah. It's not anywhere near heaven, but like
I think it's Saint Simeon, the New Theologian. I think he says something about this. I can't remember if it was him or if it was somebody that was like slightly after him, but it was around his time, where he said something like, the infants with blind, like they're wearing blindfolds basically, and that they are comforted in the fact that they have returned to their creator. So their soul has actually completed the process in which it was made for. So it is pleased in that, but it does not know why it's pleased. And that is the suffering, is the fact that it does not know the reason for which its soul is completed. So it creates a basically a doubt of, but why? It doesn't know it's created.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't have a problem with that. Like, yeah, I don't have a problem with like any of these positions. Like, I'm not like a emotional. So that's harsh, but like,
oh my gosh, you think God is evil? You think God is evil because he does that? Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I have that all the time. Like for like on the other side of the spectrum. Yeah, but like it's just what we teach, and I don't have an issue with that. The main issue is I
submit to the church, bro, even if it makes me uncomfortable. Sorry.
Yeah, of course. And if you like some people on the internet though, it's kind of like dumb. They'll like try to, like they like fantasize. I don't know how to explain it. Like they try to like make it seem like it's based in trad to like that infants go to hell. It's like, yeah, it's tragic, but like why are you?
I
think
that if you constantly talk about that, I think you're genuinely just not a good person.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's going to hurt people's feelings, but I think it's true. If the only thing that you think that you want to talk about in your apologetics is that unbaptized babies go to hell, like low key, you're actually probably not a good person.
Like, yeah, like if it doesn't,
it's just weird.
If it doesn't hurt you, weird. Like yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if you make it your prerogative to like preach for that, I think you're actually a crazy person.
I get the PSA stuff, like that's just a summation of the gospel, but like
that
you're talking about, like,
at the end of the day, like I've actually figured it out. It's economic, like not not saying like economic atonement, like the way that like what's his like Craig Truglia says. Like I think that he's pretty close to that as well, but like when I say it's economic, right, I'm simply just stating that basically everything was basically molded a certain way so that humans could understand it. But that doesn't mean that then therefore the way that we see it is univocal to God's substance.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like for example, like satisfaction, right? Does God need satisfaction from eternity? No, it's something that's contained within his will of choosing to create. It's a logo, it's a logi. The satisfaction of God is a logi. It's an intention for the current world. It's not something that is within his actual substance. Otherwise, you have to say that, for example, satisfaction is something that's part of his energies or whatever. But it's obviously not. Right? Because God doesn't need to be satisfied by anything. He transcends satisfaction. Right? So, like...
I mean, St. Gregory, the theologian, I mean, doesn't he, like, verbatim deny that, like, the Father needs to be pleased by something? Like, he doesn't need to be pleased in of himself. It's according to us, right? Yeah. We need it, not him.
Yeah. So basically, it's pretty much just it's seen in the economic sense, all of the atonement theories. Recapitulation, I think, is the only one that attempts to apply some form of ontology to it. But I think that PSA and Christus Victor, that these are things that apply by the that they apply economically to the created world. So I have no issue with affirming all of them insofar as the fact that they're in a harmonious manner. And that's what I always tell people. And some people think I'm a Latinizing scumbag for that because I say that the language itself is not foreign. So I don't have an issue with having the language. If I'm talking to somebody, for example, who believes in PSA now, I believe that basically it's easy if you utilize this specific wording to help them get to orthodoxy, right? Instead of just saying their whole understanding of the atonement's just ontologically false, right?
Yeah.
And without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness in this world. Yes. But God could also have just not created, right? And then there would be no forgiveness necessary or shedding, right? So that's the whole point I'm trying to get at. Is that God instilled certain rules for this current world, and they're exercised via God's logi, but they're not God's energies, because the logi are obviously not energies. So the atonement theories represent logi, not energies, therefore it's economic, all of it. We're truly incapable of actually understanding the ontology of the cross and what it did for us. That's all I'm saying. I mean, at the end of the day, like, that is admitted by the fathers, that we don't truly know what he did or how he did it truly. Right? What is the logi? The reflections of the divine mind. You read St. Maximus for that, or I could teach you about it later on, but it's actually it pretty much answers like everything. I'm just being real.
Wait.
St. Maximus' logi literally answers almost every theological question that exists. I'm not saying that St. Maximus is divine, but he logi is.
Isn't it like for the learned though? Like if you're spiritually unlearned, you're not supposed to read St. Maximus in depth.
Some of his
you're
works.
supposed to have like some
of his works. His 250, I think it's 250 chapters on love, is really good for like anyone to read. I think that you should absolutely avoid the ambigua. You should, if you are not like really patristically learned or metaphysically learned, do not read the ambigua. So,
do you think let's say like a catech? No, never mind.
Super chatted $5. Base Truglian Diorite Bryce.
Okay, dude. Thank you very much for the $5 error code. That's nice. I'd like to learn about the logi. I keep hearing about it. Yeah, it's basically the intentions of the world, dude. So, like, for example, like you could say that the laws of logic are logi. It's actually a logi, right? It's a representation of God's mind. It's a representation that's within creation of God's will and intention. It's awesome. It's super cool because, like, it pretty much addresses, like, every philosophy of mind question that's addressed to us. The atonement understandings. Triadology. It's epic. So, yeah. What were you saying?
Well, yeah. Oh, nothing. I'm probably gonna hop off soon, but
Sure.
I guess the main point I wanted to get across is that like both sides are kind of like extreme sides are missing the point, right?
Yeah.
They're that's just my opinion. I think I like you because you're very balanced. You're not too much this way, you're not too much that way, and I think that's probably the best mindset to have. So, I mean,
Yeah, no, I think it is as well,
good.
man. I mean, the beautiful thing about orthodoxy is that, you know, it's not as, sorry. It's not as strict in the sense that a lot of these people try to make it. A lot of people try to make the argument that, you know, orthodoxy doesn't do dogma the way that the Roman Catholic Church does. But then they like will argue on Twitter that they're a material heretic because they said that like they don't affirm original sin or some shit. But then like they don't explicate what that means. Obviously on the surface you're like, holy shit, that's Pelagian. Right? But like then when you ask them, what do you mean by that? They'll simply just say like something like personal guilt or some shit. And you're like, well, we don't affirm that shit either. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's
Yeah,
not
I
what
mean-
that's not what guilt is. That's not what original guilt is, right? Like, it just always requires a conversation, and it never ends up actually being a true theological rejection of either side. That's the best part. Is that when both of them decide to be honest and both say, "What do you mean by that?" Most of the time, they just come to the exact same conclusion, but then they say, "But I don't like the words you're using." It's awesome. That's the reason why I'm in the middle, because this shit is so dumb, dude. Like, all the time.
I think if we here's the way to solve. I think if we just like made it in language they can understand, like for both sides, this wouldn't be an issue.
That's
for like
literally,
most.
but
of
that's
it.
what we
I
do.
don't think all, but most.
That's what everyone does.
But why? I don't get. They're still rejecting it. Have you had conversations with like the other side?
They don't like applying the word. They don't like applying the word to the concept that they agreed with. So if they apply with because they believe that the word that's being used that's slapped onto the concept that they're okay with, they believe that the word that I'm using somehow implies a shit ton more than that. Because of
I know exactly what you're talking about.
PSA.
There's a specific dude who, yeah, I know. He, I don't want to name drop, but you know who he is. He lives in a different country.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of people, but yeah.
Well, he lives in a Asian country, right? His name starts with an N. You don't know who he is?
No.
Well, yeah. Well, he goes on to streams often with or sometimes with
yeah. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I know who you're talking about. Go ahead.
That dude. Yeah. So yeah, he does the exact same thing. Like he's like, oh, what do you mean by PSA? There's different PSAs. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? If you like, even on Sig's stream, he gave a definition of like what PSA is by like the Protestant scholars. I'm like, okay, well that sounds perfectly fine, but some of them just reject it because they want to be different. That's what I noticed. They reject like something because it sounds too Latin. Like it's just dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my opinion. But
yeah, no, it's a word concept fallacy problem at the end of the day.
One last thing. I just wanted to ask. Oh, what did you and Jay discuss in the Discord call? Because I mean, I heard people say you guys squashed the beef, but you kind of arguing with him like a couple days later.
It was a 10-second beef.
Okay.
Because like what happened is that like he started going in his Discord server and like he was saying that I was like a heretic or something, and saying that I was preaching heresy and that people need to stop listening to me. And then like out of nowhere he messaged me on Discord and he's like, "Yo, hop in VC," and I'm like, "You banned me." And he's like, "Oh," and then he unbanned me, and then I joined, and then he just started like questioning me just about like general concepts, like, you know, like we talked about PSA. He said that when I explained the economic thing, when I used the economic thing, he totally understood that. He accepted that.
But what about like the original sin thing? Because like that's kind of a divider.
We didn't really talk very much about original sin, right? Like it was not really one of the topics that apparently Jay thought that I was already preaching to begin with. The thing that people are, I think that what somebody had accused me of teaching is relations of opposition or something.
Oh, that.
And when he asked me to define relation of opposition, I simply just said there is a relation which is denoted between two names, right? So like, for example, unbegotten and begotten, that would be considered a relation of opposition, right? Something kind of like that. And there wasn't, like we kind of disagreed on using the word opposition, but then we kind of just moved on from that point. But he didn't have an issue with my explanation, if that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. But
like, and then I'm trying to remember a couple of the other ones. It's been a little bit now. We talked about PSA. He basically just also started like questioning me and asking me about the fathers and like asking me to like name the works of certain fathers, if I read the Cappadocians, if I read St. John's Damascus. He questioned me on my definition of the word ontology because we talked about essence energies distinction. He had no issue with the formal actual distinction. He says that that's fine.
Weren't you guys discussing it though? Like he was like, oh, if Saint, I saw like a thread. It was like if Saint Glorious.
So I actually agreed with him in the end of that conversation. We took that to DMs because we didn't want it to look like we were obviously having a debate. We took that to DMs, but he basically showed me that that bodily eyes are capable of being ascended to being able to witness something uncreated supernaturally. My argumentation that I had at first was that if something can be witnessed with physical eyes, that it's created. He actually gave me a very, very good argument as to how that's not necessarily true. And basically how something can appear, something can manifest in the sense in which that it is created, but that doesn't mean that the underlying thing is actually created. Right? So God can basically make your eyes see something in a manner that is created, but it is not created. Like, for example, the fire from Elijah, or like the angel of the Lord with Jacob. Right? Like God can manipulate your senses to experience something in the physical world, but it is uncreated. The thing that you're experiencing is uncreated. And I totally understood that. So Jay taught you created effects. That's not, no, because created effects actually necessitates that there's something that's instantiated in the world, and that basically it represents the principle, or it represents the foundation. That is not what Jay told me. He said that basically your mind or your eyes are given a vision of something that appears material, but it is not material. Something appears material, but is not material. That's the difference. Created effects necessitates that something actually is material, but it represents the immaterial. Those are not the same arguments. So God is deceiving us. That does not conclude from that. That just means that God is just providing us with something that is intelligible enough to understand something uncreated to a degree. I literally will show you, dude. One of the biggest people that Latinizers love to freaking quote, Eugenius Vulgaris, verbatimly says that the light of Tabor is fully uncreated and was seen with bodily eyes. Go shit yourself. Sorry.
Doesn't St. Palamas say that not all energies that are in time or necessitate it being created?
Say that again?
St. Palamas, he says that not all energies that are in time, it doesn't necessitate that they are created just because they're in time, right?
Yeah. That is true.
So, yeah, so, I mean, doesn't that support the view of, like, the bodily eyes then?
Yeah.
What's the issue with that?
Oh, just the dirty Latinizers, they think that we got the same position as the Catholics.
Yeah, that's dumb. Like, I think that sometimes Latinizers try to be too fringy with sides. That's my thing.
Yeah.
But,
Let me read this real quick, actually, because it's really funny. Like, when I read this, it actually confused me at first, because I actually held more of like a hardcore position on like this participation of like the creative effects type thing. But then I read Eugenius Vulgaris, who was recommended to me by pretty much every what people want to quote unquote Latinizers are. Everybody freaking recommended this guy to me, saying he's one of the best people for understanding like the scholastic understanding. In De Deo Uno, he says verbatimly, he says, "We are convinced and believe that the light specifically which shone around the apostles on Tabor was uncreated, and that this was seen with bodily eyes, strengthened by supernatural grace and power." And then in chapter 16 of the exact same work, he says that people that believe that basically the sensory eye can prove that they can't see uncreated light is an Akondinos position. It is a position of Akondinos and his heresy.
Yeah.
No. Eugenius Vergara says verbatim that if you think that the sensory eye is incapable of perceiving uncreated light, you are of the spirit of Akindinos and Barlaam. He says, but with Akindinos, the Latin theologians will say, it is impossible for the sensory eye to perceive uncreated light. Therefore, every necessity either to suppose that light created, or that the apostles did not attain it with bodily eyes, whichever they say, we shall not speak in accord with the evangelists nor the fathers. The antecedent must therefore be distinguished. Impossible by natural power, I concede. By supernatural power, I deny. By supernatural power, we believe that the material water of baptism washes away stains of sin from immaterial souls. And from the fire of Gehenna being bodily, torments not only bodies, but immaterial beings. Why not also eyes, by nature closer in power to intellectual nature than fire and water, strengthened by divine power, become perceptive to something immaterial in the sense of the body? Or he who, as he wills, makes and transforms each thing that he can change essences according to his will he not have power over his own power? So,
yeah.
Sounds awesome. Basically, he's basically just saying that God can simply just make you see something in the sense of it being created so that you can actually focus in some way, shape, or form, or have an intellectual assent to understanding something spiritual in the uncreated sense there. Right? But that doesn't mean that there's actually something that is made of matter there, because this is something that's actually shown, and this is the thing that Jay actually got me on. I think it's number 6. No, it's either that or number 22. What the heck just happened to my freaking stream? Whoa. Hold on. 1 second. There we go. Yeah, 22. Okay. So this is the story. It's Numbers 22, and this has to do with Balaam, who, by the way, Balaam is not a follower of God. Okay, he's a pagan. It says, Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went to the Moabite officials, but God was very angry when he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. Balaam was riding on his donkey, and the 2 servants were with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand, it turned off the road into a field. Balaam beat it to get it back on the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in the narrow path through the vineyards with walls on both sides. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord. It pressed close to the wall, crushing Balaam's foot against it, so he beat the donkey again. The angel of the Lord answered and moved on ahead and stood in a narrow place where there was no room to turn, either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it just laid down under Balaam, and he was angry and beat it with his staff. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and it said to Balaam, "What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?" Balaam answered to the donkey, "You have made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now." The donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your own donkey, which you have always ridden to this day? Have I been in habit of doing this to you?" "No," he said. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with his sword drawn. So he bowed low and fell face down. Right? So notice how apparently when his eyes were open, this is the supernatural strengthening of the eyes, like what Eugenius is talking about here. And it says that there was a specific position that could be seen of this said thing, but it could not see the angel of the Lord the whole time up until God opened up his eyes to be able to witness it. Same thing occurs with the light of Tabor, I would say. I would say that most of the people around could not witness the light of Tabor, only the ones in which God opened his eyes so that he could see something that was evident of the uncreated being there. Same thing applies to this.
Yeah, you can't argue with scripture. I mean, yeah.
The comeback kid for $5. Thank you very much, brother. He says, doesn't Palamas in the Triads say that the uncreated is only perceived by the nous and not by the senses or intellect? I don't think he says that specifically in the Triads. I think that he says the truth of the uncreated is seen in the noetic, is what he said, or in the nous, which we would agree with. Because the verification or the intellectual assent of the uncreated has to be through the nous. It can't be purely by intellect. Because you have to have faith, obviously, in knowing that it's God versus not being God. Right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember reading from Palamas in his treatises against the Latins. He makes the Trinity like in analogy with the nous, the Father being the source. I kind of see the crossover that the nous is like the only way we can see spiritual things, and likewise the Father, right, can only be seen in full glory by like a noetic perception. You can't see in physical eyes, as the Scripture says.
Yeah,
But the Son
by
can because he
natural
took
order,
flesh.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like by natural
Yeah, of
order,
course.
you could say that sure, the bodily eyes cannot perceive the uncreated. If somebody is able to see uncreated things, though, that's when we would say that there is a supernatural ascent of that thing from God.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the bodily eyes are not perceiving said thing. It's that God allowed them to be able to participate in those matters twice, in a double, right? A double manner, bodily mixed with noetic, and that's actually exactly what Jay says, and that's exactly what Father Deacon Ananias says. I think that's perfectly fine. I have no issue with that. I think that's really cool. A cool explanation of that. That actually helped me a lot understand participation of God's energies, right? Because like I was fighting with that for the longest time regarding these physical manifestations apparently of God in the Old Testament, and then thinking, well, if it's physical, it's got to be made of matter, so it's got to be created. That was kind of like the immediate conclusion I was coming to. I was like,
Interesting. Well, I think it's been a good discussion, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up actually cutting the stream here because I want to go to bed, and tomorrow's the 4th of July, dude. I got a long day.
Of course,
So-
yeah. With the family, yeah.
Yeah, having all the family and the friends come over. We're gonna blow a bunch of stuff up. It's gonna be awesome.
You going somewhere to watch fireworks, or do you have
Nah,
fireworks of your own?
Nah, I host something at my house.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah. Great, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, have a good night, man.
Yeah, sure, man. We all throwing something on the grill. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. Anyway, that was a great stream. Good conversations. Also, a couple brain rot conversations with some of the debaters that came up here. But hey, it was good. Good content. You know what I'm saying? As always, we convinced the guy to go to church on Sunday. So I think this was a successful one. I think we're good. But anyway, God bless everybody. Oh my gosh.